sexuality and articulating identities at work. The 11th session, it related to managing emotions at work. Both are comparatively new topics to the discipline of organizational behavior. I will take those two classes, and you have to submit your individual assignment on 2nd of April. And the 12th session, moving to the 12th session. The 12th session is focused on managing organizational misbehaviors, not behaviors. Under that session, I will be discussing about organizational misbehaviors. And finally, in the final date of your program, you have to submit your group assignment and present it to the class. I will explain it later. And actually, we will try our best to upload the teaching materials as well as the reading material 2 days before the session. Please download the reading material as well as teaching materials before the session. And you need to participate for all the session, right? If you want to learn it, learn this subject well, please participate for all the session. Then when it comes to assessment, continuous assessment, 50 marks are allocated for continuous assessment. Out of that, we allocated 20 marks for the individual assignment, and the balance 30 marks for the group project, actually 15 marks for the report and 15 marks for the presentation. The remaining 50%, the remaining 50 marks are allocated for the final examination, which is a 3-hour paper. Now, here, as you all can see, we have all the details in relation to your assessment. First one is an individual assessment. Under that, you have to select a research article which is related to organizational behavior from a refereed journal and write a critical essay on your article. In order to write a critical essay on the selected article, you have to read a lot of other articles. All the guidelines are given here. First, now look at the guidelines. First of all, select the article, right? And you have to create a suitable title, right? You can create a new one, or you can use the same title in the article. And next, introduce the article, give reasons for selecting it. Why did you select that particular article? You have to justify your selection, right? With 200 to 300 words. And next, write a summary of the article. Don't take the abstract of the article as it is, right? You have to write a summary of 700 to 1000 words, right? Summarize the whole article, right? In your own words, right? Then critically analyze the content of the article using relevant theories or findings of other articles. And next, you have to write the conclusion. And at the end, you can provide the references. You have to submit it on the day of the 10th seminar, right? On the day of the 10th seminar. And the word limit should not exceed 3,000 words, excluding references, right? So that is the individual assignment. Next one, it's a group project. We allocated 30 marks for this particular project, 15 marks for the report, and 15 marks for the presentation. First, form groups of 7 to 10 members. I will upload the group formation form. Appoint a leader for the group just to communicate with us. Fill the form with your names, registration numbers, and contact numbers, and upload it to the LMS before the third seminar. And we will create a separate folder for that purpose. You have to upload your group formation sheet to that particular folder, right? Then select a key human-related problem that an organization is facing. You have to select main human-related problem that an organization is facing. And the report should answer these questions, right? What is the problem, right? The nature of the problem. Then what are the causes? How can organizational behavior concept that you learned in the classroom be applied and extended to solve the selected problem? What are your recommendations to solve the problems? What changes should be implemented? And what are the potential barriers, obstacles, or challenges to implement your recommendations, right? To implement your suggestions. Then what are the risk, cost, and possible consequences of implementing your recommendation? And finally, how you will communicate your findings to your clients and overcome potential resistance. You can select any familiar organization, business organization, or any other type of organization. If you want, you can select your own organization and interview the related parties, right? Interview them, observe their behaviors, and find answers for above questions. Organization can be a public sector organization or a private sector organization, service providing organization, or a manufacturing organization. You can select any type of organization. If you want, you can select a non-governmental organization also, right? Then report guidelines are given here. Go through those guidelines and understand them properly. Since groups are large groups, right? We expect a serious discussion on the selected problem. The length of the report should be 15 to 20 pages, maximum 15 pages maximum 20 pages and minimum 15 pages. Ultimately, you should give 15 minutes oral presentation to the class at the final date of the course, right? Then that is all about your group presentation. And next 50 marks are allocated for the interim examination. It's a 3-hour paper, right? And we'll cover all the areas that we discussed in the classroom, right? So those are all about the course structure and the assessment. From time to time, we will give you more information, right? Any question up to now? Any question up to now? Now, I want this class to be very interactive class, right? I want you to answer my questions and raise questions from me. This is a fascinating subject, right? Very interesting subject. So we can have a very interactive class for this particular course, right? Walata, we can lassana subject interesting subject එකක් අපි ඉගෙන ගන්න මිනිස්සු ගැන මිනිස්සුන්ගේ තියෙන අඳුරු පැතිකඩවල් සහ හොඳ පැතිකඩවල් ඒ අඳුරු පැතිකඩවල් අයින් කරලා මිනිස්සුන්ගෙන් හොඳට වැඩ කරන්නේ කොහොමද මිනිස්සුත් එක්ක කියලා තමයි අපි ඉගෙන ගන්නෙ. right? Yes, number of group members 7 to 10. Actually, I would like to have groups with 5 members, but since you have a lot of students in your classes as well as weekday class, I decided to have these large groups, right? 7 to 10. Do you have any problem with the number? Is it all right? Yes. No. Don't select small size organizations, right? It doesn't matter, right? You can select these small size organizations also if they have a serious human related problem to discuss, right? Right. If you don't have any question, let me share the teaching material of the next part, right? You can type your questions in the chat box also. අල හොඳට බොහොම interactive class එකක් ගෙනියන්න හරි. chat box එකේ ඔයාලට පුළුවන් ඔයාගේ questions type කරන්න. එහෙම නැත්නම් ඔයාලා managers ලානේ දැන් නේද? ඔක්කොම seniors ලා undergraduates ලා වගේ නෙමෙයි. ඒක නිසා බොහොම independently ඔයාලගේ views class එකේ කියන්න. හරි මේක අපි share කරගන්න ඔයාලගේ experiences classroom එකේ. එතකොට අපි සියලු දෙනාටම ඉගෙන ගන්න පුළුවන්. Right? Let me share the next part. Can you see the PowerPoint presentation?
Yes, madam.
Yes, madam. Can see.
We can see.
Right. Under the second part, I hope to introduce the subject, organizational behavior. Here we have the learning outcomes of this session. Within the next 2 hours, I hope to introduce the subject, organizational behavior, its nature, scope, and the importance. So at the end of the session, you should be able to define the behavior and organizational behavior and explain its nature, importance, and scope. Finally, you should be able to explain the challenges faced by organizational behavior and how OB respond to challenges such as globalization, diversification, and technological advancement. There are a lot of challenges, but here we have mentioned only 3 challenges, right? Moving to the next slide. Now look at this. Organizational behavior is a combination of 2 words. Organization plus behavior. Within this subject, we study the behavior of people within an organization. So, first we will look at the meaning of these 2 words separately, right? Organization and behavior. Now, what is an organization? I would like to listen to your definitions, right? You learned this concept under the management subject, right? But I will look at organization with different perspective, with different view under this particular subject, right? So what are the definitions that you learned under the management? What are your definitions for organizations? Tell me at least 2 or 3 definitions for organizations.
Interaction of two or more people to achieve a common goal.
Yes, very good. Interaction of two or more people, right? Group of people working together, interacting together to achieve common goals. Very good. Any other definition? We have 75 students in the classroom. Yes, in the chat box, we have a definition, group of people working together to achieve common goals. Yes, good. Yes, what about others? Yes, another definition, group of people working together in a structured way to achieve common goals. Yes, that is very good. There's a specific structure, right? Group of people, they work under specific structure to achieve common goals, right? What about others? Can one of you give me a different definition? Wale kaidi ඉගෙන ගත්තේ? චතුරංගී. Can you give me a different definition? Chaturangi, are you there in the class?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. What is your definition for organization?
Same as others. Given a group of people who work together to achieve common goal,
yes.
Profitable or non-profitable goal?
Yes, yes, correct. Right. What about others? Anybody in the classroom? I need a different definition, view. Right, no problem. Under the management subject, you defined organization as collection of people working together in a coordinated and structured fashion to achieve common goals, right? Collective behavior of set of people. Yes, good. Yes, good, right? And it is a group of people. An organization is a group of people, and they work together in a coordinated and structured fashion to achieve goals. And then you defined organizations as socio-economic entities, since they engage in social activities as well as economic activities. Under the management, you defined organizations as socio-economic entities, since all of these organizations engage in social activities as well as economic activities, right? Then you defined it as systems or subsystems within the larger systems, since organization consists of interacting and interdependent components, right? You discuss at least 3 definitions, but from organizational behavior perspective, I will use somewhat different definition, right? Now look at these 2 definitions. According to Buchanan, right? Organizations are social arrangements constructed by people who can change them. Now, look at it again. Organizations are social arrangements constructed by people who can change them. According to this definition, organizations are social elements developed by humans to serve some purpose, and they have the ability to change these social arrangements. What do you mean by social? Can one of you tell me the meaning of social? What is the meaning of the term social? Social means relating to society. right? Relating to people, right? So this, according to this definition, organizations are social elements developed by humans to serve some purpose, and they have the ability to change these social arrangement. Social means relating to society or relating to group of people. So when we take an organization, there are stable social relations deliberately created with the explicit intention of continuously accomplishing or achieving some specific goal or purposes. People within these organizations, they create these social relations, right? And they have the ability to change them. So, for the purpose of organizational behavior, we can define organizations as structured social systems. Organizations are social arrangement, right? Social relations, networks deliberately created by people, constructed by people, and they have the ability to change these arrangements, right, that they built earlier. එතකොට මේ definition එකෙන් කියන්නේ organizations කියලා කියන්නේ මිනිසු විසින්ම ගොඩනගාගත්තු මිනිසුන්ට වෙනස් කරන්න පුළුවන් සමාජීය සම්බන්ධතාවන් ගණනාවකට. හරි, ඒ networks ගණනාවකට තමයි එකතුවකට තමයි organization එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ. Right? They are stable social relationships deliberately created with the explicit intention of continuously accomplishing some specific goal or goals, right? People within this organization create these social relationships, social arrangements, and they have the ability to change them. So based on that, we can define the organizations as structured social system. It describes a social system. First, I will define social system. A social system is a complex set of human relationships interacting in many ways. You can see here, right? We have individuals, then there are interactions among individuals, and there are groups, and interactions within these groups, interaction between groups, and then we have the whole system, right? So the whole system consists of a lot of groups, small and large groups, as well as individuals, and all of these people interact with each other in a coordinated manner, and they have these structured social relationships with each other, right? So social system is a complex set of human relationships interacting in many ways, and it describes relations among different positions. It's a social system is a distinctive, stable arrangement of people, right? Within an organization, the social system includes all the people in it and their relationships to each other. And not only the internal relationships, it includes the relationship with the outside world. So the behavior of one member can have an impact either directly and indirectly on the behavior of others, right? An organization is a social arrangement, a social structure where people live in and interact with each other and work together to accomplish specific goals. People create these social structures and they have the ability to change these social structure. So that is our definition for organization. Next, I will move to the second important behavior. What is behavior? What do you mean by behavior? What is your definition for behavior? Yes, I need answers from the class. I am waiting for your answers. Behavior, it is a simple English word. අපි සිංහලෙන් කියනවා චර්යාව කියලා. Organizational behavior කියන්නේ සංවිධාන චර්යාව. Here, I need the meaning of the term behavior. Anybody from the class?
Activities of the people who are in the society.
Sorry?
Activities of the people who are in the society.
Yes, good. Actions or activities of people in the society. Yes, thank you. Any other definition? The range of actions and feeling. Good. The way how an individual act and react. Yes, good. How we do something. Yes. What about others? Your answers are partly correct, right? They are not perfect, but I will accept them as correct answers, right? What about others? Yes.
Way of actions and reactions.
Yes, actions and reactions. Yes, correct. We have 75 students in the class. Netmi Dharmatilaka, what is your answer?
Behavior means the way in which one person or animal behaves in response to a particular situation or a stimulus.
Yes, good. It is the way a person or an animal respond to a stimulus. Yes, good. Thank you. Thank you. Correct. Your answer is correct. Yes. What about others? Way of acting within the society or organization. How we do something. Yes.
How people interact with others.
People interact with others. Yes, good. Correct. What about others? Upeksha De Silva. Upeksha, are you there in the class? Good or bad interactions of people? Upeksha? I want to know whether you are in the class or not.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, what is your definition? Not the definition. What is your idea?
Action and reaction of the people in the organization.
Actions and reactions of the people in organizations. Right. Okay. Tarindu Kamalasena. Do you have a different definition for behavior? Tarindi Kamalasena. Tarindi. Right, no problem. Now, according to your definitions, right? It is the way a person act. The way a person act, react or interact with others in the society. But, right, now look at this. It is not only this doing part, right? It is not only the doing part. Most of us, right? Most of you consider the visible doing part, right, as the behavior. We focus on what we can observe, right? But behavior is something broader than the observable actions. It is what we think, what we feel, and what we do. When it comes to the behavior, the doing part, right? It is the overt part of the behavior. It is the visible part of the behavior. But behavior includes thinking and feeling, right? Which reflect the covered part of the behavior. In relation to the behavior, the most important parts are thinking and feeling, because the doing part or the actions and the reactions depends on the covered part, thinking and feeling, right? For example, now listen to this example, right? You think that you are useless at meeting new people. Thinking part, right? You think that you are useless at meeting new people. And then the feeling part, because of that, you are scared and nervous when you meet new people. You are scared and nervous when you meet new people because you think that you are useless at meeting new people. So the action is you don't talk to them and go quiet. So your action, right, or your reaction, it depends on what you think and what you feel, how you feel, right? I will take another example. Thinking part, you think that nobody in your group or the class or the department likes you. Because of that, you feel sad and angry. That is the feeling. Those are the feelings, right? You feel sad and angry because you think that nobody in your group or the department likes you. So, as a result of thinking and feeling, you avoid having lunch with them and talking with them. So, what you think and how you feel influence what you do. Your actions are product of your thoughts and feelings. It is our thoughts and emotions that really influence our actions, but they are covered, invisible. So our actions or what we do, how we act and react in our personal lives or in organizations are influenced by a lot of factors, right? Depends on our moods, our actions, our reactions, what we do depends on our moods, whether we are happy, unhappy, angry, sad, depressed, irritated, joyful, excited, panic, the list gone, right? Frustrated, scared, tired, discouraged, all of those moods influence our actions and our thinking. The way we think, they are influenced by our personalities, perceptions, the way we look at the world, our attitudes, our values and motives. We can observe actions or reactions of people, what they do, right? But behind those actions and reactions, there is a huge portion which you can't see. There's a huge invisible portion behind what they do, behind their actions and reactions. Therefore, it is very difficult to understand the behavior of other people, why they behave in a certain way. එතකොට මේකේ මොකද්ද මේ කියන්නේ බොහොම සරල විදිහට ගත්තොත් එහෙම behavior කියන්නේ අපි කරන අපිට පේන සිද්ධ වෙන දේ විතරක් නෙමෙයි. දේ කරන්න බලපාපු අපේ හිතේ තියෙන අපි හිතන දේවලුයි අපේ feelings උයි මේ සියල්ලගේම එකතුවක් තමයි මේ behavior කියලා කියන්නේ. It's a collection of what we think, what we feel and what we do. Right? So what we do, it depends on what we think and what we feel. අපි කරන දේවල් තීරණය වෙන්නේ අපේ හිතන දේවල් වලිනුයි අපේ emotions වලිනුයි. හරි? එතකොට නමුත් අපිට පේන්නේ මොනවද? මේ අපි කරන observable පුංචි part එක විතරයි. හරි? ලොකු portion එකක් අපි හිතන දේවල්වත් අපේ emotions වත් අනිත් මිනිසුන්ගේ අපිට පේන්නේ නැහැ. එහෙනම් කොහොමද මේක තේරුම් ගන්නේ? හරි? අපි කොහොමද මිනිස්සු ඇයි යම්කිසි ආකාරයකට හැසිරෙන්නේ කියලා තේරුම් ගන්නේ? හරි? ඒක කරන්න ලේසි නැහැ. It is very difficult to understand human behavior because large portion of human behaviors are invisible, covered. Right? Now, who is behaving? Who is behaving? Here one of the student has raised question. So, madam, these three parts are always interconnected, or are they independent? Most of the time they are interconnected, right? Because you will learn later on under the 5th session, I will discuss the cognitive behavior of cognitive framework of behavior. According to that framework, especially human beings, right, they purposely decide their behavior. They plan their behaviors, right? Before taking actions, they think, right? And after that, they decide their actions and reactions, right? So these three are interconnected, but there are some involuntary behaviors also, right? So not always, but most of the time, these three are interconnected, right? I will explain these connections later when I discuss the cognitive framework of behavior, right? Now, who is behaving? Only human beings? Yes or no? Can animals behave? Yes or no?
Yes. Yes, madam.
Yes, correct. Behavior is anything an animal does. Right? In the world of animal, behaviors involve actions and responses to stimulus. Right? Eating, working, flying, blinking, huddling, all are examples for behaviors. So, all the living beings, including people, behave in different ways. But behavior of people are different from animals. How and why? We know that behavior of human beings are different from other animals. So what are the differences between these two groups? Can one of you tell me? There are a lot of differences between animals and human beings, right? What are the most important differences?
Thinking ability.
Common sense.
Yes, thinking ability, common sense, yes.
Analyzing.
Yeah. Sorry?
Analyzing.
Yes, of course, correct. They have the analyzing ability. Creativity, yes. Human beings are creative. Animals can't think. Yes. What are the other differences? Now, when you relate these differences to behavior, Sixth sense. Yes. What are the other differences? We have 75 students in the classroom. What are the differences between animals and human beings, when it, especially in relation to behaviors? Piumi Alvis.
Yes, madam.
What is your answer?
Logical thinking, creativity.
Yes, creativity, and human beings can think logically, correct. Human most of the time wear a mask. They act and pretend. Yes, very good. They are very good. Non-visible actions. Yes.
They can react from the mind.
Yes, they can react from the mind. Good, very good. Animals have some common and repetitive behavior. Yes, correct. Ability to talk and express feeling in wording. Yes, good. They are faithful than human. Yes, very good. Correct. People can be loyal by choice, but animal most of the time loyal to the lawyer. Non-visible actions are high among human beings. Yes, good. Right. I received what I want. Right. Now, the most important thing is human beings have the ability to think and reason upon certain things, make decisions based on knowledge, experiences, and logic, and they can act intentionally. But animals cannot reason. They are only driven by their natural instincts. මේ සත්තු ස්වභාව ධර්මයෙන් ඒගොල්ලන්ට සහජයෙන් ලැබිච්ච දේවල් වලින් ඒක කරනවා. නමුත් human beings ලා හිතා මතා purposely එයාගේ දැනුම experience logic මේ ඔක්කොම දාලා intentionally purposely deliberately එයාගේ action එක තීරණය කරනවා. Right? ඒක තමයි එයා dangerous. Right? And when it comes to the behavior, animals' behavior are limited to finding foods and water, avoiding predators, and reproducing. But when it comes to human behavior, there are thousands of different behaviors, and these behaviors and reasons for those behaviors are very complex. People have the ability to, as one of your friends mentioned, people have the ability to hide their true emotions and pretend. They wear masks, as your friend correctly mentioned. They wear masks, different masks for different situations. And especially in organizations, people wear different masks. They don't show their actual thoughts or feelings or behaviors. Assume that you don't like your supervisor, but you don't show it. You hide it. When you're working with your colleagues, you wear a specific mask, right? You pretend that you like and support your colleagues, but you are ready to stab their back. Right? When you get an opportunity, අපි කියනවා මොනවාද මිනිස්සු ගැන කියන්නේ? හරිද? මිනිස්සු ගින්දර ගෙනියනවා කියනවා වතුර යටේ. හරි? ඊට පස්සේ පිටට පිහියන් අයින්නවා කියනවා. මොකක්ද මේ කතන්දර? මේ තමයි දාගත්ත වෙස්මුහුණේ කතන්දරේ. හරි මිනිස්සුන්ට පුළුවන් ඔයාත් එක්ක යාළුයි කියලා පෙන්නන්න, ඔයාට ආදරයි කියලා පෙන්නන්න, ඔයාට ගැන කෑරින් කියලා පෙන්නලා සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම අනිත් පැත්තට දෙයක් කරන්න හිතන්න. හරි? ඒක නිසා මිනිස්සු එක්ක වැඩ කරන එක, මිනිස්සුම තේරුම් ගන්න එක, ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ behavior එක predict කරන එක, manage කරන එක හරි අමාරුයි. Right? When you work with the CEO or your boss or subordinates, you wear different mask. You change it according to situations. So inside the organization, we wear masks and don't show our normal, actual behaviors. When we do it, when they do it, right? When employees do it, it is very difficult to understand, predict, and manage their behavior. It is really difficult to understand this complex behavior of people. In order to get the real picture, to understand the true reasons for their behaviors, you have to uncover these masks. මේ වෙස්මුණු ගලවන්න ඕනේ මිනිස්සු ගැන හරියට ඉගෙන ගන්න. හරි, ඉතින් you are managers, right? You should learn the art of uncovering mask, right? Yes, man is the animal which cannot be identified. Yes, you are correct, right? So if you want to be an effective manager, you should have the ability to uncover these masks. එතකොට ඔයාට හොඳ මැනේජර් කෙනෙක් වෙන්න නම් මේ මිනිස්සු දාගෙන ඉන්න වෙස් මුහුණු ගලවලා ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ බිහේවියර් එක යටින් තියෙන සැබෑ හේතුන් හඳුනා ගන්න පුළුවන් වෙන්න ඕනේ. Right? So in order to understand real behavior, to uncover the truth, right, you need some sort of systematically, scientifically developed knowledge. Right? You need a theoretical background. There are no clear-cut answers for human behaviors. Therefore, we need to clearly understand these behaviors. If you are their problems are different from person to person. You can't give the same solution. Right? You have to find different solutions for the problems of different people, because they are different from each other. Here we have 75 students, right? 75 different individuals, right? Your personalities, your perceptions, the way you look at the world, your attitudes, your values, your motives, expectations, your social backgrounds, right? Professional backgrounds, all of those things are different from each other, right? So we have 75 unique individuals in this class who are different from each other. And all of these differences influence your behaviors. And it is very difficult to understand your behaviors because you are different from each other. And most of the part of your behaviors are invisible. එතකොට මේ එකිනෙකට වෙනස් මිනිස්සුත් එක්ක වැඩ කරනකොට හරි හේතු දෙකක් තියෙනවා. එකක් තමයි මේ behavior එකෙන් වැඩි part එක සංගවිලා තියෙන්නේ. අනිත් හේතුව තමයි එකිනෙකට වෙනස්. Right? So we can't find universal solution. We can't apply the same solution to the problem of someone else. වෙන කෙනෙකුගේ problem එකක් solve කරන්න අරයට දාපු උත්තරෙම දාන්න bad. Human problems are different from each other. So you have to find unique solutions also. Right? So it is not an easy task. Understanding people, right? Predicting their behaviors as well as managing their behaviors. It is a challenging task, right? Now, look at this. Here we have the characteristics of human beings. Sorry, not human beings, characteristics of behaviors. First one can be simple actions. These behaviors can be simple actions such as writing, winking, cutting, or working, right? Or complex behaviors such as manipulating, bribing, lying, resisting. මිනිස්සු කරන දේවල් ගැන ඇත්තටම හිතනකොට මිනිස්සුන්ගේ චර්යාවන් ගැන ඇත්තටම හිතනකොට මේ මිනිස්සුද කියලාත් හිතනවා. හරි? So there are complex behaviors such as manipulating, bribing, lying, resisting, and can be overt. That is the part of the behavior that other people can see. Includes any action that is directly observable. Example: walking, reading, talking, arguing. Actually, our physical actions, reactions, and verbal behaviors are the overt behaviors, right? Then can be covered. Behavior can be covered. Covered means not directly observable. They are hidden behaviors. Includes perceiving, thinking, reasoning, creating, hating, imaginations. All the emotions, right, represent the covered part of the behavior. Basically, human behavior which cannot be observed are called covered behavior. මිනිසුන්ගේ තියෙන අපිට මිනිසුන්ගේ චර්යාවේ තියෙන අපිට නොපැනෙන පාර්ට් එක. හරි? ඒ හිතන විදිය, එයාලා සංචාලනය කරන විදිය, ඒගොල්ලෝ තර්කානු ජස්ටිෆයි කරන විදිය, නිර්මාණය කරන විදිය, ඉමැජිනේට් කරන විදිය, හරි? ඉමෝෂන්ස් ගත්තොත් වෛර කරන විදිය, දුක් වෙන විදිය, මේවා අපිට ඔබ්සර්ව් කරන්න බෑ. ගොඩක් දේවල්. හරි? එතකොට ඒ පාර්ට් එකට තමයි කවර්ඩ් කියලා කියන්නේ. Sometimes covered behavior can be inferred from overt behavior. For example, assume that somebody stopped talking with you. Then you know that he or she is angry with you or jealous with you for some reason. Right? You can assume reasons. Right? Somebody stopped, maybe your friend, right? Or maybe girlfriend or boyfriend, right? Or maybe wife or husband suddenly stop talking with you, right? That is the overt behavior, right? You can assume that something is wrong, right? She or he is angry with you or jealous with you for certain reasons, right? But you don't know the exact reasons. In order to react to that situation correctly, you have to find the correct reasons behind reasons for that particular behavior, right? So covered behavior can be inferred from overt behavior. සමහර වෙලාවට මේ අපිට පේන චර්යාව දිහා බලලා අපිට සංගවිලා තියෙන අපිට නොපෙනෙන දේවල් ගෙස් කරන්න පුළුවන්. හරි? නමුත් අපිට ලොකු probability එකක් තියෙනවා අපි ගෙස් කරන දේවල් වැරදෙන්න. ඒක මතක තියාගන්න. ඒ ඉන්න මැනේජර්ස්ලා විදියට ගෙස් කරන්න යන එක එච්චර හොඳ නෑ. හරි? ගෙස් කරන්න යන එක මැනේජර්ස්ලා විදියට එච්චර හොඳ දෙයක් නෙමෙයි. You have to find the true reasons for their behaviors, right? And finally, these behaviors are product of learning, hereditary factors or environmental factors. Your behavior, how you think, act and react depend on your learning, knowledge and experiences. Then genes and hereditary factors influence who we are, from our physical appearance to our personality characteristics. We inherit both positive and negative qualities from our parents, and we bring all of those negative and positive qualities to organizations also. And these positive and negative qualities influence our behavior as well as the behavior of other people in the organization, and finally organizational performance, right? All of these personal qualities, right, influence behavior, right? Then we have the environmental variable, such as our childhood experiences, early childhood experiences, then how we were raised as kids, right? our social relationships and our surrounding culture also influence our behavior. ඔයාලා එක දන්නවා. හරි? අපිව කුඩා කාලේ ඉඳලා ගොඩ නැගුණේ කොහොමද? හරි? අපේ කුඩා කාලේ අපි ලබපු අත්දැකීම්, අපේ දෙමව්පියෝ, අපේ ගුරුවරු අපිව ගොඩ නගාපු ආකාරය, අපි සමාජයත් එක්ක සිපු සම්බන්ධතාවයන් සහ අපිව වට කරන් තියෙන මේ සංස්කෘතියේ අංගයන් අපේ චර්යාව තීරණය කරන්න දැඩි ලෙස බලපානවා. අපි හිතන විදිය, අපිට දැනෙන විදිය සහ අපි කරන දේවල් තීරණය කරන්න මේ සියල්ලම, right? Learnings, right? Knowledge and experiences, then our hereditary factors, both positive and negative qualities that we inherit from our parents, as well as environmental variables such as our early childhood experiences, how we were raised, our social relationships, and our surrounding culture. All of those things influence our behavior. Yes, religious background also influence. Actually, when I say culture, religious background, it is a part of the culture, right? That's why I did not separate separately mention the religion, right? එතකොට ඔයාලා දන්නවා අපි ඉපදෙනකොට හරි එක ස්කෝලර් කෙනෙක් කියනවා මට එයාගේ නම මතක නැහැ. එයා කියනවා මේ ළමයෙක් ඉපදෙනකොට එයාගේ මනස හිස් කොලයක් වගේ කියලා. blank page එකක්. හරි? එතකොට මේ blank page එක තමයි එයාගේ චර්යාව, එයාගේ personality එක, එයාගේ ජීවිතේ. ඒක හරි ලස්සනට රටා නගන්න එක තියෙන්නේ දෙමව්පියෝ, පාසල සහ සමාජය. ඒ blank page එකේ අඳින චිත්‍රයක් වගේ ඒ පෞරුෂය, එයාගේ චරිතය, එයාගේ behavior එක ඒ සමාජයේ විසින් ගොඩ නගනවා කියලා තමයි එයා කියන්නේ. හරි? මේ මම ඉස්සරහට ඒ කතන්දරේ කියන්නම් ඔයාලට. එතකොට මේ මිනිසුන්ගේ behavior තීරණය කරන්න බලපානවා. ඒගොල්ලෝ ඉගෙන ගන්න දේවල්, එයාලට දෙමව්පියන්ගෙන් ලැබිච්ච positive and negative qualities සහ සමාජය තුල, පරිසරය තුල එයාලා කුඩා කල සිට ලබපු අත්දැකීම්, එයාලව ගොඩනගපු ආකාරය, එයාලා සමාජයත් එක්ක තියෙන සම්බන්ධකම්, ඒ සංස්කෘතියේ මේ සියල්ලම පුද්ගලයෙකුගේ චර්යාව තීරණය කිරීමට බලපානවා. Now look at this. Look at this. Plato. No, this is not Alfred Adler, right? The previous one, no, I will tell you the name of that person. Here we have the Plato, right? Plato once said that human behavior flows from three main sources: desire, emotion, and knowledge. Plato believed that these three sources dictate your behavior as humans. At the basic level, human behavior is indeed governed by desires. Desire for health, wellness, wealth, fame, power, success, the list go on. An ideal life, desire for an ideal life, desire for love, desire for happiness, desire for information, desire for learning new things, the list go, right? Now, then we have key emotions, right? Such as love, hatred, anger, hurt, sadness, grief, joy, bitterness, sorrow. What are the other emotions? Jealousy, guilt, revenge, fear. All of those emotions drive human behavior according to Plato, right? Then finally, knowledge. Knowledge about yourself, about others, and about the past drive your behavior. Further, your knowledge on subject of interest, and expertise ranging from politics to economics to human anatomy, then to maths, to science, to business. All of those things will drive your behavior. He did not include experiences, but he is right to a certain extent. Even today, simply because it means that your behavior is driven by the compelling and compounding power of awareness and understanding about a lot of things, focused thoughts and deep desires and the force of human emotions. එතකොට මේ කිව්වදේ හරි මොකක්ද එයා කිව්වේ ප්ලේටෝ? In my point of view, he is correct, right? He did not include the experiences, but according to him, human behavior flows from three main sources: desire, emotions, and knowledge. Now we have a lot of desires, you know that, right? So what we desire for health, wealth, fame, power, success, love, happiness, information, right? So we have a lot of desires, and our desires, motives, expectations, all of those things influence our behavior. And when it comes to emotions, we such as love, hatred, anger, sadness, grief, joy, sorrow, jealousy, guilt, fear, right? All of those things drive human behavior. And finally, the knowledge. ඇත්තටම මිනිස්සුන්ගේ චර්යාව මිනිස්සු කොහොමද හැසිරෙන්නේ කියලා තේරුම් ගන්න මේ දැනුම යාළගේ අත්දැකීම් හරි මේ සියල්ලත් එක්ක තමන් ගැන අනිත් අය ගැන අතීතය ගැන සහ ඒ තියෙන දැනුම සබ්ජෙක්ට්ස් ගැන තියෙන දැනුම දේවල් ගැන තියෙන දැනුම ඒ වගේම මිනිස්සුන්ට තියෙන ආශාවන් සහ ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ හැඟීම් මේ සියල්ල මත තමයි මේ behavior එක තීරණය වෙන්නේ කියලා ප්ලේටෝ කියනවා. Now think about this. Our desires, are they visible? No. Our emotions, are they visible? No. And the knowledge, our experiences, are they visible? No. Right? So our actions and reactions depend on these invisible sources: desire, emotion, and knowledge. Can we understand the reasons for the behavior of people easily? අපිට පුළුවන් ද මිනිස්සුන්ගේ චර්යාවන්ට reasons හොයාගන්න ලේසියෙන්? ප්ලේටෝ කියනවා මේ මිනිසුන්ගේ තියෙන ආශාවන් ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ තියෙන හැඟීම් සහ දැනුම මත තමයි මිනිස්සු කරන දේවල් තීරණය වෙන්නේ කියලා. මේ තුනම අපිට පේනවද? නෑ. හරි? එතකොට කොහොමද අපි මිනිසුන්ගේ මේ actions, reactions යට තියෙන සැබෑ reasons තේරුම් ගන්නෙ? හරි? ඒක ඉතාමත් asiru karya, right? Why is it difficult to understand human behavior? Now look at this. Why is it so difficult to understand human behavior? The human behavior, because the human behavior is similar to an iceberg. The most fascinating part of an iceberg is that typically 10% of it is actually visible above the water level. You can see here. 90% of the iceberg is invisible. Similarly, when we look at human behavior, only 10% of behavior is visible, as I mentioned earlier. 90% of it is invisible. That 90% represent the factors that drive those behaviors. You can't see the underlying knowledge, feelings, thought, their emotions, values, attitudes or beliefs that drive these behaviors. This covered part of the behavior. right? Reflect feelings, behaviors, attitudes, values, learnings, motives, emotions, right? All of those things are invisible. What is visible is, right? What is visible is accompanied by layers of hidden complexities. This here, the above the waterline, right? Above the waterline reflect the observable actions, while below the waterline reflect the factors that drive those behaviors. So if you want to change the observable part, now listen well, right? If you want to change the observable part, the observable action and reactions, the visible actions and reaction, what you have to do? You have to change what drive those behaviors. It includes changing motives, desires, values, attitudes, expectations, confidence, emotions, and assumptions of people, which is very, very difficult. දැන් මේ අපිට පේන මේ actions අපිට මිනිසුන්ගේ පේන actions හරි reactions මේවා change කරන්න නම් අපි මොනවාද change කරන්න ඕනේ මේ behaviors drive කරන මේ invisible part එක you have to change there are expectations, there are motives, desires, values, attitudes, expectations, emotions. Can we do it easily? Changing people, changing attitudes of people, they are grounded, actually deep rooted within human beings. So it is very difficult to change attitudes of people. There are motives, needs, right? Values. Some of those values and attitudes can be changed, right? Takes time. Some of those things are deep-rooted mental assumptions. So changing the behavior of people, it is not an easy task. Lazy na, hari? Ame kiyande anne ඔයාලට managers ලා විදියට තියෙන ඉතා අසීරු කාර්යයක්. මේ මිනිසුත් එක්ක වැඩ කරන එක. ඒගොල්ලෝ හරියට තේරුම් ගන්න එක. ඒගොල්ලන්ව hurry to manage කරන එක, right? But in order to create highly satisfied, committed, motivated workforce, you should have that ability. Madam, don't you think at birth, here one of the students has raised a question, Madam, don't you think at birth our minds can't be blank page because some children are born with inborn talents? Yes, I agree with you. That is not one of my view, right? Now, there's an argument between nature and nurture, right? Some scholars argue that human personality and their behaviors are determined by these hereditary factors, right? We bring those things, we receive those things from our parents. But against that, some other scholars, they argue that we can change all of those things, right? We can change our personalities, the way we perceive, our attitudes and values through learning, education, and training. එතකොට මේ ප්‍රශ්නේ අහන්නේ පුතේ ඔයාලා අහන්නේ මේ එක දරුවෙක් අහනවා මේ අපි සමහර අය born talents කියනවා කියලා. Yes, that is true, right? අපි both nature and the nurture, right, determined our behaviors, our personalities. That is the conclusion, right? Earlier I mentioned one of the view. මම ඉස්සර වෙලා කිව්වේ අර blank page එකක් කියලා. මේ ඒක එක view එකක්, right? Professor Udayanga will discuss this. සසර පුරුද්ද කියලා කියනවා, but nobody has proved or disapproved, right? කවුරුත් මේක සනාථ කරලත් නැහැ, සනාථ නොකරලත් නැහැ. හරි? ඒක නිසා සමහර දේවල් කියනවා අපිට හරියටම දන්නේ නැත්තේ. හරි? අපි ඒවා ඒ different arguments උත් එක්ක යන්න. හරි? සමහර දේවල් තියෙනවා. දැන් ඔය අහනවා සසර පුරුද්ද තියෙනවා කියලා. මං කියනවා තියන්න පුළුවන් maybe. but I don't know exactly because nobody has proved or disapproved. කවුරුත් අනුමත කරලත් නැහැ අනුමත කරලත් නැහැ. හරි? ඒක නිසා එහෙම දේවල් අපි දෙපැත්ත ඉගෙන ගන්නෙමු. එතකොට මේ human mind එක මේ blank state එක ඒක ඇත්තටම කොලයක් වගේ කියලා නෙමෙයි කියන්නේ. ඒක මේ සහිස් තිරයක් කියලා කියන්නේ. ඒකේ හරි ලස්සන දෙයක් මම දැක්කා දෙමව්පියෝ විදිහට. හරි? ඒක දිහා දකින්න පුළුවන් නම් අපිට දරුවෙකුගේ පෞරුෂය ගොඩනැගීමේ ක්‍රියාවලිය ඒක ඒ පෞරුෂය ගොඩනැගීම අම්මා තාත්තා කෙනෙක් අඳින ලස්සන චිත්‍රයක් කියලා හිතුවොත් එහෙම. හරි? එයාගේ මයින්ඩ් එක බ්ලැන්ක් පේජ් එකක් නම් ඒක හරි ලස්සන දේවල් වලින් අපිට ගොඩනගන්න පුළුවන්. හරි? මම ඒක දැක්කේ ඒ විදිහට. ඒක එක view එකක්. මම ඔයාලට කවුද ඒක කිව්වේ කියලාත් හොයලා කියන්නම් ඊළඟ දවසේ. හරි? ඒකට against view එක තමයි අපි උපතින් ගේනවා. හරි? අපි උපතින් හුඟක් දේවල් අරගෙන එනවා. අපේ personality characteristics, we have inborn characteristics, right? So our personality and our behaviors depend on both. As I explained earlier, I discussed 3 factors, right? Learning, hereditary factors, as well as the environmental factors, right? So our behaviors depend on all of those factors, not only the environmental factors, but also it depends on the hereditary factors, right? Both nurture and nurture, right? That is the conclusion, right? Right. So here we were talking about this feelings. Now, right. If you want to change the observable visible actions, then you have to change the these invisible behaviors, right? Motives, desires, values, and attitudes of people, right? Then it is very difficult to change behavior, as we discussed earlier, because some of these things are, for example, attitudes, values, they are deep-rooted assumptions. It takes time to change those things, right? Now, individual differences, most of the parts are invisible. Additionally, individual differences make it more difficult. Now, as I discussed earlier, in this class, we have around 75 students. You are different from each other. Your values, personalities, perceptions, the way you look at the world, right? Your motives, expectations, educational levels, experiences, social backgrounds, all of those things are different from each other. If you take organizations, there are hundreds of workers. Some organizations have thousands of workers. They are different from each other. And managers have to understand their behavior separately in order to work with them effectively. For example, assume that you want to motivate the employees of your department. In order to motivate them, first of all, you should understand their needs. Right? So, first, you have to fulfill the needs in order to motivate them. If they have different needs, right, you have to motivate them separately, right? Fulfill their needs separately. You can't use the same team to motivate all the employees in your department. And හිතන්නකෝ ඔයාගේ department එකේ සමහර අයට සල්ලි දීලා පඩි වැඩි කරලා motivate කරන්න පුළුවන්. Some people need recognition. Some people like to go abroad for a training and development opportunities. Their expectations are different from each other. So you have to use different techniques to motivate these people. You can't apply the same technique to motivate all the employees. එතකොට organization එකක් ගත්තොත් එහෙම සමහර organizations වල 100 ගාණක්, සමහර organization 1000 ගාණක් ඉන්නවා. එතකොට මේ එකිනෙකට වෙනස් මිනිස්සු ජීවත් වෙනකොට ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ needs, expectations, motives වෙනස් වෙනකොට ඔයාලට එකම ක්‍රමවේදය apply කරන්න බෑ. You have to find unique methods to lead and motivate and satisfy these different people, right? Now, it is not an easy task because 90% of their behaviors are invisible and reasons for behaviors, why do they behave as they do? It is different from person to person. In order to understand these complex human behaviors, you need systematically and scientifically developed knowledge. එතකොට මේ මොකද්ද ඔයාලට කියන්නේ එක අතකට මිනිසුන්ගේ චර්යාවන්ගෙන් 90%ක් ඉන්විසිබල්. අනිත් අතින් මිනිස්සු එකිනෙකට වෙනස්. හරි? එතකොට මේ 90%ක් ඉන්විසිබල් වෙලක් තියෙන එකිනෙකාට වෙනස් වෙච්ච මිනිස්සු ඉන්න තැනක කොහොමද මේ වැඩේ කරන්නේ? හරි? So you need in order to understand this complex human behavior, you need systematically and scientifically developed body of knowledge. OB, organizational behavior, provides that knowledge. It helps you understand, predict, and manage human behavior in organizations. Right? Now, what is the significance of understanding people's behavior at work? Here we have the reasons. As you know, people make up the internal social system of an organization. We consider them now, it's 2:30, right? I will give the break now, and you can have this 30 minutes break up to 3, and after that we will continue the class up to 4:30, right? Now you can have the break. දැන් ඔයාලට break එක ගන්න පුළුවන්. මොකද සමහරුත් lunch එකත් අරගෙන නැතුව ඇත්තේ. ඒක නිසා අපි we will start the class 3. Or if you like, I can start the class at 2:45. මොකද කියන්නේ? 2:45 then, right? Right. So you can have 15 minutes break. I will start the class at 2:45. Right.
Recording stopped.
Organization. And we consider people as the most important resource in an organization. Organizational performance, then productivity, image of the organization, goodwill, growth, everything depends on the performance and behavior of organizational members. They are innovative and creative ideas and activities. The behavior of people, both managers as well as other employees, directly affect the functioning of the organization. So having a motivated, committed, and satisfied workforce is very important for all type of organizations. In order to create such a workforce, as managers, you should be able to understand, predict, and manage their behaviors correctly. Then this melting pot of diversity, have you heard of this metaphor? Melting pot, it is a metaphor. අපි සිංහලෙන් කියනවා රූපකයක් කියලා. හරි? අපි යමක් වෙනුවට යොදා ගන්න තව වචනයක්. හරි? So it is a melting pot, it is a metaphor for a society or a group where many different type of people blend together as one. So what is a melting pot? It is a society or a group maybe an organization where many different type of people blend together as one. Anywhere diverse people are assimilated, we can call a melting pot. අර එකිනෙකට වෙනස්ම backgrounds වලින් එන පුද්ගලයන් රාශියක් එකට වැඩ කරන ඕනෑම society එකකට අපිට කියන්න පුළුවන් melting pot එකක් කියලා. ඒක මේ රූපකයක් ඇත්තටම metaphor එකක්. Organizations are also melting pots. Men, women, Catholics, Hindus, Buddhists, workers from different generations, retired, deaf, the deaf, all of them work together in organizations. They have different social and family backgrounds. Their educational and professional backgrounds, level of experiences are different from each other. Now, in this our contemporary organizations, this diversity is very high. We live in a complex, interconnected world where diversity forms the fabric of the modern society. As you know, diversity in the workplace, it is an asset for both business and their employees in its capacity to foster innovation, creativity, and empathy in ways that homogeneous environment seldom do. But in order to reap potential benefits as managers, you should be able to manage the diversity properly. OB will help you to manage this diversity effectively. The knowledge that you can gain from organizational behavior subject will help you to understand people who comes from diverse backgrounds, right? And now the workplace, it has been changed, right? With the increase in the state retired age, now it is 65 in Sri Lanka. The working age population, it will rise in numbers, right? Increase in the age diversity, and need to you have to address the age discrimination. Then number of part-time jobs are increasing. Number of working women, especially working mothers, are increasing. And there is a growth in the number of women in management position and other male dominant jobs. And number of now working at home, it is a global phenomena. In addition to the diversity, as managers, you have to deal with all of these problems. Here I have mentioned only few, right? The workplaces, they have been changed. Right now, the contemporary organizations are different from the past organizations. Managers, they have new challenges. Here I have mentioned few. In order to face all of those challenges successfully, right? And in order to manage this diverse workforce, in order to lead all the organizational members towards organizational goals, right? You should have, as managers, you should have the systematic and scientific knowledge in relation to human behavior. මිනිසුන්ගේ චර්යාවට සම්බන්ධව මේ විද්‍යාත්මකව සහ අපි කියන්නේ මොකද්ද systematic බොහොම ක්‍රමානුකූලව ගොඩනගාපු දැනුම් සම්භාරයක් ඔයාලට අවශ්‍ය වෙනවා. මේ මිනිසුන්ව හොඳින් තේරුම් අරගෙන ඒගොල්ලන්ව හොඳින් මැනේජ් කරලා මේ ඕගනයිසේෂන් එකේ අරමුණු කරා ගෙන යන්න. හරි? එතකොට OB කියන මේ සබ්ජෙක්ට් එක ඔයාලට උගන්වන්නේ අන්න ඒ හේතුව නිසා. Right? In order to understand, predict and manage human behaviors effectively and efficiently within organizations. That is the goal of organizational behavior. So what is it? Up to now, we talked about organizations as well as human behavior. What is organizational behavior? Now, this organizational behavior, it is basically concerned with the study of behavior of people within an organization. Organization behavior, it is a field of study that helps managers to understand, predict and manage or control human behavior in organization. It is not only about understanding human behavior. Through this subject, through organizational behavior, first we using this knowledge, first we understand the behavior, and then based on that understanding, we can predict and control the behavior of other people as managers. Now, look at this. Here we have two definitions of organizational behavior. According to the first definition, OB is the study of how people behave in organizational setting and the study of the interface between human behavior and organization and of the organization itself. Now take 30 seconds and read this definition. Take 30 seconds or 1 minute and read this definition. Organizational behavior, it is the study of how people behave in organizational settings, of the interface between human behavior and organization, and of the organization itself. This field of study, according to this definition, it helps you to understand individual behavior, group behavior, and how the organizational factors such as culture, leadership, power, and politics influence the individual and group behavior in organizations. According to this definition, OB focus on individual behavior within the organization, how groups work together, how the organization itself behaves, and how all of these are interconnected and impact each other. Under the organizational behavior, we study behavior at 3 levels: at individual level, at group level, at organizational level. There are individual level factors such as perception, personality, values, attitudes, motives, and expectation that influence the behavior of those individuals as well as behavior of other people and the performance of the organization. For example, if I take the way you perceive things or your personalities, your personality influence your own behavior as well as the behavior of the other people. It influences your performance as well as the organizational performance. Right? So at individual level, we study the individual level factors, individual differences that influence the behavior of individuals, and how these individual factors influence the performance of the employees as well as organizational performance. එතකොට individual level පුද්ගල මට්ටමේදී අපි study කරනවා මේ මිනිස්සුගේ පෞරුෂයන් එයාලා perceive කරන විදිය, attitudes, values, motives, expectations කොහොමද එයාගේ behavior එකට බලපාන්නේ. How my personality influence my behavior. අපි දන්නවද ඒක? සමහරවිට අපි දන්නේ. Right? And then it helps managers to understand how personality of a particular person or perception of a particular person, attitudes and values of a particular person influence the other members of the organization. It happens. And finally, performance of the organization. අන්තිමට ඔයාගේ ඔයාට තියෙන්නේ ඔයාගේ personality එක ඇත්තට හොඳ එකක් නෙමෙයි නම් ඒක ඔයාගේ චර්යාවටත් බලපානවා. ඒක අනිත් අයගේ චර්යාවටත් බලපානවා. අන්තිමට ඔක්කොගෙම කාර්යඵලවලට බලපාලා ඕගනයිසේෂන් එකටත් බලපානවා. එතකොට අපි individual level, at the individual level we try to understand those factors. What are the factors, individual level factors that influence the behavior of people? How these factors influence the behavior and how these factors influence the behavior of other people and the performance of the organization. Then there are group level factors. In organizations, there are small groups as well as large groups. There are formal groups as well as informal groups. Within these groups, people work together in order to achieve formal goals as well as informal groups. The behavior of these groups influence individual members within these groups as well as the group performance. And finally, the performance of the organization. So at the group level, we examine the factors, group level factors that influence the behavior of people. For example, cohesiveness, communication within teams, interactions within teams. We study such group level factors in order to examine their influence on the behavior of individuals as well as groups and finally the organization. එතකොට කණ්ඩායම් මට්ටමේදී අපි ස්ටඩි කරනවා කොහොමද මේ කණ්ඩායම් වල ලක්ෂණ cohesiveness වගේ දේවල්. හරි කොහොමද ඒ individual members ලට බලපාන්නේ group එකට බලපාන්නේ කොහොමද organization එකට බලපාන්නේ කියලා. Then organization itself, it means the organizational level factors such as culture of the organization, power and politics of the organization, conflict of the organization, right? And the leaders of the organization. At the last stage, at the organizational level, we examine the organizational level factors that influence the behavior of individual groups and finally the organization. ඊට පස්සේ තුන්වෙනි level එකට ගිහිල්ලා අපි බලනවා මේ සංවිධානය තුල තියෙන සාධක තියෙනවා. ඒවට තමයි the organization itself means the organizational level factors that influence behavior. We know that culture of the organization, it influences the behavior of the people. It heavily influences the behavior of people, right? And if we take conflict within the organization, if we have very strong visionary leaders, it heavily influences the behavior of individuals as well as groups. So, at the final stage, at the organizational level factors that influence individual behavior, group behavior, and finally the organization. එතකොට අපි අන්තිමට ස්ටඩි කරනවා මේ organization එකේ ඉහළම මට්ටමේ තියෙන factors, right? කොහොමද මේ මිනිසුන්ගේ individual workers ලගේ behavior එකට බලපාන්නේ. ඊට පස්සේ ඒක ඇතුළේ තියෙන කණ්ඩායම් වල behavior එකට කොහොමද බලපාන්නේ. How power and politics, conflict in the organization influence workers, members of the organization. We examine those things under organizational behavior. Organizations වල ඇතුළේ තියෙන power games, political games, conflicts කොහොමද ඒක ඇතුළේ ඉන්න මිනිසුන්ට බලපාන්නේ. ඇයි මිනිස්සු සංවිධාන අත්හැරලා යන්නේ? හොඳ මිනිස්සු. හරි? එතකොට මේවා අපි ඩිස්කස් කරනවා මේ OB ඇතුලේ. හරි? එතකොට organizational behavior කියන්නේ මෙන්න මේ තුන. හරි? මෙන්න මේ තුන ස්ටඩි කරන එක තමයි අපි organizational behavior එකෙන් කරන්නේ. Right? Next definition, Robbins' definition. According to Robbins, it is a field of study that investigate the impact that individuals, groups, and structures. Here, the structure means all the organizational level factors, right? Have on behavior within organization for the purpose of applying such knowledge organizational effectiveness. So what is this knowledge in order to improve organizational effectiveness, right? So what do you mean by effectiveness? Effectiveness reflects the extent that you achieve the goals, right? ඔයා කොච්චර දුරට අරමුණු ඉෂ්ට කරගන්නවද කියන ඒ ප්‍රමාණය තමයි මේ effectiveness එකෙන් පෙන්නන්නේ. එතකොට මේ organization එකේ අරමුණු ඉෂ්ට කර ගැනීමේ purpose එක තමයි ඒ බලාපොරොත්තු ආකාරයට ඉෂ්ට කර ගැනීම සඳහා තමයි මේ OB දැනුම යොදා ගන්න. Right? So under the organizational behavior we examine the impact of individual, group and structures, right? On the behavior within organization. How individual factors, group level factors and structures, it represents all the organizational factors, influence the behavior within the organization, right? So that's what we investigate under the organizational behavior, right? So according to this definition, the study of organizational behavior provides a set of tools, concepts and theories that help people or managers understand, analyze and describe what happened in organizations and why, right? Not only what happened in organization, why those things happen, and how those characteristics of individual, right? How do the characteristics of individual, groups and organizational factors affect how members behave in organizations? So understanding behavior in organization is one reason for studying this subject, right? Further, it provides tools and techniques to predict and manage human behavior. දැන් මොකක්ද මෙතන කියන්නේ මේ OB it provides set of tools, concepts and theories that help people to understand human behavior. Not only that, it provides tools to predict and manage human behavior. You can learn how to apply these concepts, theories, tools and techniques to improve behavior in organization so that individuals, groups and organizations can achieve their goals. එතකොට සංවිධානවලට එයාලගේ අරමුණු ඉෂ්ට කර ගැනීම සඳහා අවශ්‍ය වෙන ආකාරයට ඒ සංවිධානය තුල ඉන්න මිනිස්සුන්ගේ behavior එක ඒ කණ්ඩායම් වල behavior එක improve කරගන්න ඔයාලට පුළුවන් මේ OB තුලින් ඔයාලා ඉගෙන ගන්න දැනුම භාවිතා කරලා. ඒක තමයි මේ කියන්නේ. හරි? This particular subject help you to understand human behavior. It provides tools, techniques, concepts and theories that helps you to understand human behavior in organization, how they behave and why they behave in a certain way. මිනිස්සු කොහොමද හැසිරෙන්නේ? ඇයි එහෙම හැසිරෙන්න හේතුව? ඒක තේරුම් ගන්න අවශ්‍ය කරන දැනුම ලබා දෙනවා OB වලින්. In addition to that, it provides tools, theories and concepts that helps you to understand, predict and manage human behavior in your organization. ඊට අමතරව when you make a decision, sometimes the workers will react, right? They will resist. So you should be able to predict their behaviors. If I make this decision, what will happen? How they will react? මම මේ decision එක ගත්තොත් මේ workers ලා කොහොමද react කරන්නේ? මොනවා වෙයිද? ඒකට ඒ predict කරන හැකියාව ඔයාලට තියෙන්න ඕනේ. හරි? ඒ දේ ලබා ගන්න ඔයාලට පුළුවන් මේ OB වල ඔයා ඉගෙන ගන්න දේවල් ඇසුරෙන් කියලා තමයි කියන්නේ. And it will help you to manage their behaviors, right? Next, I will move to the goals of organizational behavior. Now, here we have the goals of the organizational behavior. First one, actually we discussed these things earlier from time to time, right? These are the goals of the organizational behavior. The first objective is to systematically describe how people behave under variety of conditions. That is one of the goals. Systematically describe how people behave under variety of conditions. For example, as a manager, I have information about a particular junior executive that he comes office in late and leave the office early. දැන් මට තොරතුරක් තියෙනවා සේවකයෙක් සම්බන්ධයෙන්. එයා පරක්කු වෙලා වැඩට එන්නේ වේලාසනින් ගෙදර යනවා කියලා. So you can describe his behavior, right? He comes to the office late and leave the office early, right? Then the second goal is understand. OB helps you to understand why people behave as they do. Managers have to understand the reasons behind a particular action or a reaction. For example, as a manager, I must find out the true reasons why this junior executive is coming late and going early. I have to find the true reasons before taking actions. දැන් එක මේ junior executive පරක් වෙලා වැඩට ඇවිල්ලා වෙලසනින් ගෙදර යනවා. හරි ඒක තමයි යාගේ behavior එක මම observe කරපු behavior එක. හරි හැබැයි මට ඇයි කියන එක පේන්නේ නැහැනේ අපි ඉස්සෙල්ලා කතා කරපු විදිහට that part is invisible. So you have to find the true reason behind this particular behavior. Why this particular junior executive behave in this way, right? Coming late and going early. So that is the behavior. What are the real reasons under this behavior? That is understand. You should understand those real reasons in order to take correct action. දැන් ඔයා සමහර වෙලාවට මේ work එකට ගොඩක් ප්‍රශ්න තියන්න පුළුවන්. හරි යාගේ ගෙවල් කොහේ හරි ඈතක පැත්තට ගෙනියන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ පැත්තට වාහන නැතුව එන්න පුළුවන්. හරි ඒ හින්දා යා එනකොට පරක්කු වෙනවා. ටිකක් මේ ලස්සන යනවා. හරි එතකොට ඒක අහන්න නැතුව, right, without finding the true reason, you assume that you took a disciplinary action. හිතන්නකෝ ආ disciplinary action එකක් ගත්තා යාව අයින් කරන්න හරි මොකක් හරි එකකට. හරි without finding the true reasons behind this particular behavior. Earlier he worked well. He's a committed worker, right? But now he has changed his behavior. එයා මේ දැන් තමයි මේක වෙලාව change කරලා තියෙන්නේ. ඉතලා හොඳට වැඩ කරපු කෙනෙක් වෙලාවට ආපු. හරි හොයන්න නැතුව assume කරලා මෙයා නිදා ගන්න පටන් අරගෙන කියලා. හිතන්න පුළුවන් අලුතෙන් බැන්දා වැඩි කරා දැන් මේලා වැඩිපුර නිදා ගන්නවා. වේලසනින් ගෙදරක් දුවනවා. හරි අපිට ඕන රීසන් එකක් දාගන්න පුළුවන්. ඔයාලා perception වලින් perception කරනකොට ඉගෙන ගන්න. අපි අනිත් මිනිසුන්ගේ behaviors වලට අපි හේතු දෙනවා. අපි එහෙම කරනවද නැද්ද? කරනවා. That is wrong. It's a perceptual error. You can't give reasons for the behaviors of other people. You have to find the true reasons. Right? Right? So, without understanding the real reasons, don't take actions against anybody. කවදාවත් කාගේවත් වෙනුවෙන් actions ගන්න යන්න එපා. Don't react, right? React කරන්න යන්න එපා. හරියට කරුණු හොයන්නේ නැතුව. Right? So that is another goal. Understanding. What is the third one? To predict. predicting future behavior of employees, it is another goal of organizational behavior. Usually managers, they should have the capacity to predict why the employees are committed to the organization or whether they are committed to the organization or not. Actually, managers should have the capacity to predict it, whether these employees are committed or not, whether they are loyal or not. If I start a new project, whether they will resist or not. You should have that ability, right? Ability to predict. Then as a manager, you make a lot of decisions. So you have the ability to predict the actions and the reactions of your subordinates to these decisions, right? When you try to implement these decisions, right? If they influence the work of the employees, you should have the ability to predict their behavior. Then one decision ඔයාට තියෙන්න ඕනේ ඒ decision එකට ඔයාගේ workers ලා subordinates ලා not only the subordinate, how the superiors will react, how your colleagues will react. සමහරලාට ඔක්කොටම එරෙහි වෙන්නේ colleagues ලා. හරි? එහෙමත් තියෙනවනේ නේද? හරි? එතකොට මේ එක එක්කෙනා react කරන්නේ කොහොමද කියලා predict කරන්න පුළුවන් නම්, if you can do that, you can perform well in your organization. If you can predict the behavior of the people. Right? This OB will help you to do that. For instance, I have to realize why this executive wants to leave early. Assume that he wants to leave the organization, right? You should, I have to realize why he wants to leave this organization. How I can hold the officer in my organization. What should be done in this situation? What is my role? දැන් ඔයාට ඒක මේවා කරන්න ඕනේ. මෙයාට මේ ඕගනයිසේෂන් එක දාලා යන්නද වෙයි හදන්න. හරි? අයියාට එහෙම දාලා යන්න හේතු වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. හරි? ඒක නවත්තන්න නම් මම මොන වගේ දේවල්ද කරන්න ඕනේ? හරි? ඒවා ඔයාට හිතන්න පුළුවන් වෙන්න ඕනේ. මේ අවස්ථාවේ මොකක්ද මගේ රෝල් එක? හරි? මෙයාගේ මේ බිහේවියර් එක කරෙක්ට් කරන්න මගේ රෝල් එක මොකක්ද? හරි එතකොට ඒ විදිහට මම මෙයාව ask කරොත් what will happen to the organization if I fire him, what are the consequences to the organization as well as to that particular employee and to other workers also. ඔයා හොයන්න නැතුව තීරණයක් ගත්තොත් එහෙම ඒ කෙනා වෙනුවෙන් අනිත් අය ඔයාට බොහොම නෙගටිව් විදිහට හිතන්න ගන්නවා. හරි? You have to take the correct decision. Because all of the other members are observing your behavior. ඔයාගේ දිහා බලාගෙන ඉන්නේ. හරි? එක වර්කර් කෙනෙක් පරක්කු වෙලා ඇවිල්ලා වේලස්සනින් යනවා. හරි? එතකොට ඔයා you have to take an action. You must. Right? Either you have to help the employees to come to the office on time and to leave the office on time, or you have to take action, a disciplinary action against this behavior. එක්කෝ ඔයා හේතු හොයාගෙන වෙන හේතුවක් නිසා මෙයා එන්න පරක් වෙලා වෙලස්නින් යනවා නම් එයාට ඒක නිවැරදි කරගන්න උදව් කරන්න ඕනේ. එහෙම නැතිනම් ඔයාට සාධාරණ හේතුවක් මත එයා කරන්නේ නැත්නම් අනිත් අයටත් එක්සැම්පල් එකක් වෙන විදිහට ඔයා යාට disciplinary action එකක් ගන්න ඕනේ. Otherwise others will do the same thing. අනිත් අයත් ඔය විදිහටම පරක් වෙලා එන්න ගන්නවා. So as a manager you have to react to this behavior. In order to do that, you have to find the correct reasons. You have to talk with him, talk to his friends to find the real reason behind this behavior and take actions to correct it. Action එක ගන්න ඕනේ මේ behavior එක නිවැරදි කරන්න. ඒකේ අර real reasons තමයි ඔය address කරන්න ඕනේ. හරි එතකොට ඔයා මොකද if I make this decision, if I fire him, what will happen? Otherwise, what are the other alternative solutions? ඔයාට එහෙම හිතන්න පුළුවන් වෙන්න ඕනේ. Right? Then control. To control. It is the final goal. right? The final goal of organizational behavior is to control and develop a friendly environment for the organization, for employees. Since managers are responsible for the overall performance of an organization, they must develop teamwork, skills of the employees, and commitment of workers. Managers should take necessary actions to create a satisfied, motivated, committed workforce. In the case which I discussed earlier, I can increase the financial benefit for the officer. If it is not satisfactory for him, I can help him to solve his personal problems, or I can negotiate with him to solve any other organizational problem. So, organizational behavior is a human tool for human benefit. එතකොට control එකේ දැන් මම ඉස්සෙල්ලා ගත්ත reason එක ගත්තොත් එහෙම මේ worker මට ගොඩක් දේවල් කරන්න පුළුවන්. හරි? If he has a financial problem, then I can help financially to increase his salary. Yes, I will explain the first goal, right? Let me explain this one. To solve is there are three alternative solutions, right? You can increase his salary, right? Or you can give other monetary benefit, or you can help him to solve his personal problem, or if he or she has any other problem within the organization or the department, then you can discuss it with him, right? And find the real problem and provide solution for the real problem, right? One of the students has asked to explain the first goal. Actually, really, the main three goals are understanding, predicting, and controlling, right? But before understanding the problem, you should observe it and you should have the ability to describe the observable behavior, what is happening, right? Before moving to the understanding part, you should have the ability to describe what is happening, right? So describing what is happening, it has been identified as one of the goals. But most of the scholars, most of the researchers, according to most of them, OB has three goals: understand, predict, and control, right? Then scholars මේ goals ඇත්තටම තුනයි තියෙන්නේ: understanding, predicting, and controlling human behavior in organization. But some scholars have mentioned the first one, describe, right? That is describing the observable behavior. So in my case, the observable behavior is leaving the office early and coming to office late. දැන් මම කතා කරපු එකේ behavior එක තමයි මොකක්ද ඔයාලට observable visible behavior එක තමයි බොහොම පැහැදිලිව මෙයා පරක්කු වෙලා වැඩට ඇවිල්ලා වේලස්සන යනවා. Right? So you should have facts to prove that particular behavior. ඒකට ඔයාලට evidence තියෙන්න ඕනේ. එක දවසක නෙමෙයි, at least you should have facts within 1 month. සම්පූර්ණ මාසයක් තුලම මෙයා මේක කරමවට ඔයාලට evidence තියෙන්න ඕනේ. හරි? එතකොට ඒ describe කරන එක organizational behavior එකේ goal එකක් කියලා සමහර scholars ලා කියනවා. But according to most of the scholars in this area, there are only three goals: understanding, predicting, and controlling, right? So those are the goals. Organizational behavior is a human tool for human benefit. People use this tool to control, to understand, to predict, and to manage the behavior of another group of people, right? For the benefit, so the benefit also goes to the humans, right? So it is a human tool for human benefit. මිනිසුන්ගේම යහපත තකා මිනිසුන්ගේම benefits සඳහා එක මිනිස් පිරිසක් කොටසක් විසින් ක්‍රියාත්මක කරනු ලබන tool එකක් තමයි මේ organizational behavior කියලා කියන්නේ. Right? Next, we will look at nature of organizational behavior. Right? Let's move to the nature of... Yes.
Excuse me, madam. Small clarification. Can you go to the previous slide, please?
Yes, I will go there. Yes.
Madam, increasing financial benefits and help him to solve his personal problems coming under provide preventive actions under predict or controlling tool.
Actually, under the predicting, you have to think about those alternative solutions, right? So under the controlling, you have to apply those things.
Clear, madam. Thank you.
Okay. Now, this slide, right? This slide explains the nature of organizational behavior. Actually, first one, it's a field of study, right? It is not a discipline. Why? Organizational behavior is not a discipline. It is a field of study. Why? What is a discipline? According to your knowledge, for example, the psychology is a discipline. Medical science is a discipline. Sociology is a discipline. Anthropology is a discipline. OB is different from those disciplines. Why? What is a discipline? What is a discipline? A discipline is an accepted science with a theoretical foundation that serves as the basis for research and analysis. For example, psychology and sociology. But OB is an eclectic field of study. Eclectic. What do you mean by eclectic? Have you heard that term? Eclectic field of study. ECLECTIC. Eclectic, right? ECLETIC. Eclectic means deriving ideas from a broad and diverse range of sources. That is the meaning of eclectic, right? What is the meaning? Deriving ideas from a broad and diverse range of sources. So, OB is an eclectic field of study that integrate behavioral sciences like psychology, sociology, anthropology, social psychology, political science, and economics, right? It is not a particular body of knowledge or a discipline. OB has a multidisciplinary orientation. It is not based on a specific theoretical background. So it is a separate field of study. මොකක්ද මේ field of study? OB කියන්නේ discipline එකක් නෙමෙයි. Discipline, it is a systematically and scientifically developed specific body of knowledge. But organizational behavior, it has a multidisciplinary orientation. Lot of other disciplines have contributed to develop this particular subject, right? I will explain this in detail, right? I will explain the interdisciplinary nature of organizational behavior in detail with this slide, right? Let me make it bigger. Now look at this, right? Now, this slide, it explains the interdisciplinary nature of organizational behavior. Now look at this. Under this subject, organizational behavior, we study behavior at 3 levels, right? We discussed those things earlier. Under the organizational behavior, we study behavior at individual level, group level as well as organizational level, right? We examined individual level factors that influence their behaviors and organizational performance. We examine group level factors that examine the behavior of people and the groups and the organization. And then we examine organizational level factors that influence the behavior of people within that organization, right? Now, I will move to the next level, right? Under the contribution, now like this, under the contribution column, we have the areas which fall under each category, right? Each level. For example, at individual level, we have areas such as learning, motivation, perception, training, job satisfaction, right? And the list goes on. Then at the group level, we have areas such as group dynamics, work teams, communication, power, conflict, and this organizational change, organizational culture. And then at the organizational level, we have a lot of other factors, right? Some factors related to different levels. For example, if I take this organizational technology, it relates, organizational culture, it may relates to the group level factor as well as organizational level factors, right? Now, OB, organizational behavior, it has borrowed these areas and related concepts, theories, models and practices from different behavioral sciences and even physical sciences. The main feature of OB are primarily based on behavioral sciences such as psychology, sociology, social psychology, anthropology, and political sciences. The list goes. Even though we have selected few areas, subjects such as economics, right? Then medical sciences, and a lot of other areas have contributed to develop this field of study, right? Now, if I take psychology, it is the discipline which studies the human mind and its functions scientifically, right? The psychology, it is the discipline which studies the nature of human mind and its functions scientifically. Psychology, especially industrial psychology, it is the greatest contributor to the field of organizational behavior.
Recording in progress.
Right? As you know, individual behaviors are governed by their perception, attitudes, values, and emotions. The theories and concepts that are used to discuss individual differences, they are borrowed from, most of the concepts are borrowed from psychology, right? Api me individual level ekedi katha karana factors, motivations, personality, perception, learning, attitudes, values, emotions, all of those concepts and the theories and concepts and models that we use to understand those things, they are borrowed from psychology. Api mano vidyawen tamai api me individual factors තේරුම් ගන්න අපි සාකච්ඡා කරන දේවල් අපි use කරන models හරි ඒ සියල්ලම අපි අරගෙන තියෙන්නේ මේ psychology වලින්, right? For example, in order to understand personality of individual workers, we use Sigmund Freud's psychoanalytic theory, which is borrowed from psychology. Then අපි personality theories ගැන කතා කරනකොට ප්‍රොෆෙසර් දෙයංග ඔයාලට කතා කරයි. අපි කතා කරනවා Sigmund Freud psychoanalytical theory. It describes psychological development stages as well as the parts of the mind, the id ego and super ego. We borrowed all of those things from psychology. අපි ඒ ඔක්කොම අපි personality එක විස්තර කරන්න අපි use කරන theories ගොඩක් තියෙනවා. ඒකේ මේ psychoanalytic theories අපි අරන් තියෙන්නේ psychology වලින්. හරි, ඒක example එකක්. ඒ වගේම learning theories, right? ඒවා ගොඩක් දේවල් අපි psychology වලින් borrow කරපු දේවල් තමයි අපි මේ individual behavior organization එක ඇතුලේ මේ මිනිසුන්ගේ චර්යාව තේරුම් ගන්න මේ individual factors සම්බන්ධයෙන් අපි use කරන්නේ psychology වලින් අපි ගත්ත theories, right? Then we have sociology, right? The second one is sociology. It is the systematic study of collective behavior of organized groups of human beings. Sociology also has a major impact on the study of organizational behavior. Society contributes to organizational behavior through its contribution to the study of group dynamics, community, intergroup behavior, organizational culture, and the list goes on, right? Those are the contributions of sociology. We use the concepts and theories which comes under sociology to understand group dynamics, communication patterns, and intergroup behaviors within organizations. Next, we have social psychology. It is a branch of psychology that deals with social interactions, including origin and the effect on the individual, right? It contributes to OB through its contribution to the study of communication, group processes, attitude changes, and then finally group decision making, right? After that, we have anthropology, මානව විද්‍යාව නේද? අපි social psychology කියන්නේ සමාජ මනෝවිද්‍යාව, anthropology කියන්නේ මානව විද්‍යාව. It is the scientific study of the origin of the human behavior. It is the study of human societies and cultures and their developments. It contributes to the OB through its contribution to organizational culture, organizational environment, and comparative values and attitudes. Then we have the political science. It is the scientific analysis of political activities, power acquisition, and usage of power. It contributes to the OB through its contribution to organizational politics and organizational conflicts. So, it is essentially, when you look at this, we can conclude that it is essentially an interdisciplinary approach to study human behavior at work. It has grown out of the contribution from numerous earlier field of studies. මේ කලින් හඳුන්වලා දුන්න විවිධ disciplines වලින් contribution අරගෙන බොහොම ලස්සනට rich විදිහට පෝෂණය කරලා ගොඩනගාපු හරිම fascinating subject එකක් තමයි organizational behavior කියලා කියන්නේ. මේක ඔයාලා හරි ලස්සන subject එකක්. ඔයාලා study කරොත් එහෙම ඔයාලට research වලට පවා යන්න පුළුවන් මේ areas වලින්. බොහොම ලස්සන subject එකක්. Right? Next, I will move to the nature of organizational behavior again. Sorry, nature of OB. That slide. We were talking about the field of study as well as the interdisciplinary nature of organizational behavior, right? Then we have this OB is the integral part of management. It is a part of general management and not the whole management. You learned the management under the basic concepts of management under the first semester, right? So this OB, it is a part of general management and not the whole management. It represents behavior approach to management because of importance of human behavior in organization. එතකොට මේ OB වලින් OB addresses focus only the people, the human asset. මේ පුද්ගලයන්ව තමයි මේ මිනිස්සුන්ව තමයි ඒ වක්කම තමයි මෙතනදී OB වල focus කරන්නේ. හරි. නමුත් management ගත්තාම under the management, you study both the human resource as well as all of the other physical resources, right? Management means planning, organizing, leading and controlling all the organizational resources, both physical resources as well as human resources, in order to achieve goals of the organization effectively and efficiently, right? This organizational behavior address only the human related problems, right? So it is a part of general management, not the whole management, right? And next, the analysis of behavior. As we discussed earlier, OB involved 3 levels of analysis of behavior: individual behavior, group behavior, and behavior of the organization itself. This analysis helps in demolishing incorrect assumptions one may hold about behavior of other people. It provides rational thinking about behavior of other individuals. Then analyze කරන්න ඔයාට උගන්වනවානේ මේ subject එකෙන් individual behaviors. ඒ analyze කරලා ඔයාට කියන්නේ you should take a rational decision, right? First of all, you have to collect data, information in relation to a particular problem or a conflict or a situation or a behavior, and after analyzing those facts and data, you should understand the problem, the reasons behind those behaviors. එතකොට මේකෙන් කරන්නේ මේ ඇනලයිස් කිරීමෙන් කරන්නේ අපි වැරදි තීරණ ගැනීම. මිනිසුන් සම්බන්ධයෙන් වැරදි තීරණ ගැනීම වැළකෙන එක, වැරදියට රියැක්ට් කරන එක, වැරදෙන් මේ නවතින එක තමයි මේ ඇනලිසිස් එකෙන් අපිට උදව් කරන්නේ. මොකද ඒකෙන් අපිට rational decision එකක් ගන්න උදව් වෙනවා organization එක සම්බන්ධයෙන්, right? Next one is goal oriented, right? Now what is this? Now OB is action oriented and goal directed discipline, not a discipline, field of study. As we discussed earlier, we discussed the goals of organizational behavior. These goals are understand, predict and manage human behavior in organization, right? So there are goals. Organizational behavior is a goal-oriented field of study. The goals are understand, predict and manage human behavior. According to the previous slide, there are 4 goals: describe, understand, predict and manage human behavior in organization. Next, it is a human tool. OB is a human tool for human benefit. It helps in understanding and predicting the human behavior of individuals. Managers can use these tools to anticipate the effect of certain actions of individuals. Then human tools, the human group of human beings use these tools, right? To understand, predict and control the behavior of another group of people. The මිනිස්සුම තමයි මේව හදාන්නේ. දැන් අපි අර එක පළවෙනි එක organizations define කරනකොට අපි කිව්වා මිනිස්සු විසින්ම නිර්මාණය කරපු structures. හරි, ඒ structures, connections, relationship ඒවා වෙනස් කරන්නේම මිනිස්සු. එතකොට මේ OB වල මේ tools ඒවා හඳුනාගන්නෙත් මිනිස්සු, ඒවා ක්‍රියාත්මක කරන්නෙත් මිනිස්සු, ඒ ක්‍රියාත්මක කරන්නෙත් තවත් මිනිස්සු පිරිසකගේ චර්යාවන් තේරුම් ගන්න predict කරන්න සහ අනිත් එක තමයි control කරන්න. right? එතකොට මේ to achieve organizational goals as well as individual goals. මේ දෙගොල්ලගේම අරමුණු ඉෂ්ට වෙන විදිහට මිනිස්සු විසින්ම නිර්මාණය කරලා මිනිසුන්ටම benefit ගෙන දීම සඳහා භාවිතා කරන tool එකක් තමයි organizational behavior කියලා කියන්නේ. right? Then whether it is a science or art, it is both a science as well as an art. OB is a science as well as an art, right? As I mentioned earlier. The systematic knowledge about human behavior is a science. A science is a systematically and scientifically developed body of knowledge. So, OB is a science, right? There are a lot of systematically and scientifically developed theories under the organizational behavior. For example, if we take these motivational theories such as that you learned under the management, right? Such as Maslow's theory, Herzberg two factors theory, right? McClellan theory, then leadership theories such as transactional theory, transformational theory. All of those theories are scientifically and systematically developed theories, which we used under the organizational behavior. And if we take the psychoanalytic theory of Sigmund Freud, it is another theory which is scientifically and systematically developed, right? So, under the organizational behavior, we have a lot of scientifically and systematically developed theories, learnings. So, we can consider it as a science. And actually, the application of behavioral knowledge and skills creating towards being an art, right? Now, the application of behavioral knowledge and skill, it is the art. From person to person, you know that if we take 5 leaders, not the leaders, think about managers of your organization, right? If you have 10 managers, these 10 managers have 10 different styles. So the way we apply these things, the way we motivate people, communicate with them, lead them, direct them, support them, guide them, all of those things are different from manager to manager, leader to leader. It's an art. මිනිස්සුන්ව කොහොමද පාලනය කරන්නේ? මිනිස්සුත් එක්ක වැඩ කරන්නේ කොහොමද? මිනිස්සුන්ව අභිප්‍රේරණය කරන්නේ කොහොමද? නායකත්වය දෙන්නේ කොහොමද? ඒගොල්ලොත් එක්ක how to connect with them? All of those things are different from person to person. It depends on the personality of the manager or the leader. It depends on the attractive characteristics of leaders, qualities of leaders and managers. Right? The learnings, their experience and knowledge, right? So, all of us can learn the same thing. But when we apply those things, we apply them differently. That is that. Right? මේ OB develop වෙලා තියෙන්නේ බොහොම systematically. හරි අපි බොහොම sciences වලින් අරන් තියෙන්නේ. Right? Disciplines, psychology, sociology, anthropology, social psychology, medical sciences, economics, political sciences, they have contributed to OB. It's a scientifically and systematically developed body of knowledge, field of study. So it's a science. එක බොහොම විද්‍යාත්මකයි. හරි අපි නිකන් ගත්තේම නෙමෙයි රිසර්ච් කරලා එක්ස්පෙරිමන්ට්ස් කරලා අවුරුදු ගණනාවක් තිස්සේ ඒ හොයාගත්ත පර්යේෂණවල ප්‍රතිඵල වලින් තමයි මේ OB පෝෂණය වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. හරි behavioral sciences වලින්. අපි කියනවා චර්යාත්මක විද්‍යාවන් කියලා. ඒ වගේම තමයි මේ OB පෝෂණය වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. So it is a science. ඒක විද්‍යාවක් ඒ අතින් බැලුවහම. But the way you apply these theories, concepts, your learnings, right, are different from person to person, from manager to manager, from leader to leader. So it's an art. අපි එක කලාවක් මිනිසුන්ගේ හා බැඳුණු හරි අපි මම ඉස්සෙල්ලා කිව්ව විදිහට මැනේජර්ස්ලා 10 දෙනෙක් ගත්තොත් එහෙම එයාලා මැනේජ් කරන විදිය 10 විදිහක්. There are 10 different ways of managing and leading people. Right? So it's an art. The application is an art. So we can consider organizational behavior as science as well as an art. මේක විද්‍යාවක් වගේම කලාවකුත් වෙනවා. Right? So next one, fulfillment of employee needs. Every employee in the organization wants to fulfill his needs through organizational activities. In the organizations, it is organization's responsibility to provide a pleasant environment in the organization so that people may get satisfaction and the organization may attain its objectives. So both organization and individuals can benefited by each other. මේක මේ workers ලටයි organization දෙකටම benefit ගන්න පුළුවන් විදියක් තමයි අපි OB හරියට apply කරොත්. Right? Sorry. Then the last part. This is also very interesting. OB is humanistic and optimistic. First, let me introduce the humanistic perspective. It is a different perspective, right? Now here we have the humanistic approach. Small introduction, right? I will use this slide just to help our discussion, right? I will discuss this topic in detail later under the 5th session. Then the humanistic approach එක ඇත්තටම මේ theoretical approaches උත් එක්ක එන්නේ. හරි මේක මම 5වෙනි session එකේ මම මේක ඔයාලත් එක්ක මේ හරි ලස්සනයි මේවා මේක discuss කරන්නම් in detail. මම දැනට මේ ගන්න තොරතුරු ටික මේ organizational behavior එකේ nature එක explain කරන්න ඕනේ ටික විතරයි. හරි මොකද තාම චුට්ටක් අමාරුයි. You have to learn 2 more theories before the humanistic approach, right? You have to learn the behavioristic approach as well as psychoanalytic approach before the humanistic approach. Without knowing those two, it is difficult to understand this humanistic approach, right? So I will explain this concept today briefly. Later on, I will explain it in detail after teaching both the psychoanalytic theory as well as the behavioristic framework model, right? Now, what is it? This theory, it emerged during 1915 as a reaction to psychoanalysis and behaviorism, right? This psychoanalytic theory, Sigmund Freud introduced this theory, right? Explained the nature of the mind, right? How the development of the mind influence the behavior of people, behavior of human beings. මේ psychoanalysis model එකේදී කරන්නේ මේ අපේ මනස දියුණු වෙච්ච ගොඩ නැගෙන ආකාරය උපතේ ඉඳලා එක ස්ටේජස් වලින් ගොඩ නැගෙන ආකාරය මේ සිග්මන්ඩ් ෆ්‍රොයිඩ් කියන්නේ හැම දෙයක්ම එයා කියන්නේ මේ මිනිසුන්ගේ behavior එක එයාගේ ජීවිතේ සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම තීරණය වෙන්නේ මේ ස්ටේජස් වලදී කියලා. හරි? ඔයාලා ඉගෙන ගත්තාම බලන්න. හරි? එතකොට මේ මිනිස් මනස ගොඩ නැගෙන ආකාරය අනුව behavior එක තීරණය කරනවා කියන ඒවා තමයි psychoanalysis theory. Professor Udayanga will discuss this psychodynamic psychoanalysis theories when he discussed the topic personality, right? And the behaviorism, it is another theory which explained the behavior of people, the underlying reasons for different type of behaviors. Behaviorism කියන්නේ මේ අර ඔයාලා ඉස්සෙල්ලා කිව්වේ මට අර stimulus වලට දක්වන response එක කියලා behavior කියන්නේ. So that is the idea of the behaviorist. According to behaviorist, it is a response to stimulus. Right? I will discuss this behaviorism or the behavioristic model under the 4th session in detail. මේ දෙකෙන් කියන්නේ එකක් තියෙනවා බොහොම සරල විදිහට ගත්තොත් එහෙම human behavior එක determine වෙන්නේ මේ මනස develop, that is human behavior, it is determined by the development of the mind from the childhood. Right? එක psychoanalysis theory එකේ කියන්නේ ඒකයි මිනිසුන්ගේ මනස ගොඩනැගිච්ච ආකාරය අනුව තමයි යාගේ behavior එක තීරණය වෙන්නේ එක එක stages වලදී කියලා. Behaviorism කියන්නේ මිනිස්සු අපි stimulus වලට දක්වන ප්‍රතිචාර තමයි ඔයාලා ඉගෙන ගනි අර බල්ලට මස් කෑල්ලක් දීලා බෙල් එකක් ගහලා ඒකෙන් තමයි Pavlov's මේ එක gain. Right? We will discuss those things in detail later under different topics. Right? This humanistic psychology or humanistic approach emerged against those two theories. Right? His psychoanalysis was focused on understanding the unconscious motivations that drive behaviors. Unconscious motivations within the mind. Right? Id-ego and superego. Sigmund Freud discussed the role of id-ego and superego in determining the behavior and the personality of individuals. Sigmund Freud කියනවා මේ මිනිසුන්ගේ පෞරුෂය සහ චර්යාව තීරණය කිරීමෙහිලා මේ අපේ brain එක එහෙම නැත්නම් mind එකේ කොටස් තුනක් තියෙනවා id, super ego and අනිත් එකන ego. මේ තුන් දෙනා develop වෙන ආකාරය අනුව තමයි තීරණය වෙන්නේ කියලා. Right? So according to him, these unconscious motivations play a very important role in determining the behavior of people. While behaviorism studies the conditioning process that produce behavior. Now, under the behaviorism, their theories, their conclusion is that is in order to gain certain benefit, that benefit is the stimulus. Right? People change behavior. For example, the stimulus may be a salary increment or a reward or a promotion. In order to gain that benefit, people work hard. Right? That hard working, it is the behavior. Right? So people work hard in order to gain that benefit. Right? To respond to the stimulus. අඩිය වැඩි කරන එකයි ප්‍රොමෝෂන් එක දෙන එකයි තමයි ස්ටිමියුලස්. හරි? ඊට පස්සේ ස්ටිමියුලස් එක ලබා ගන්න අපි දෙන රෙස්පොන්ඩ් එක තමයි මහන්සි වෙලා වැඩ කරන එක. ඒක තමයි බිහේවියරිසම් වලදී කිව්වේ. හරි? අපි මොකක් හරි ස්ටිමියුලස් එකක් තියෙනවා නම් අපි ඒකට රියැක්ට් කරනවා බොහොම සරල විදිහට මම ඔයාලට මේ කියන්නේ තේරුම් ගන්න. හරි? පස්සේ අපි මේක කතා කරනකම් මේ දෙක ගැන මේ චුටි දෙයක් කියන්නේ. right? එතකොට behaviorism එක කරේ according to behaviorism, behavior is the response to a certain stimulus, right? Humanistic psychology was instead focused on each individual's potential and stressed the importance of growth and self-actualization. People have free will. Now, this is a humanistic approach. It is a perspective that emphasizes looking at the whole person and the uniqueness of each individual. It assumes that people have free will and they are motivated to achieve their potential and self-actualize. It developed as a rebellion against the psychoanalytic theory of Sigmund Freud and the behavioristic theory, as I explained earlier. It offered a new set of values for understanding human behavior. It emphasizes the personal worth of the individual, the centrality of human mind, values, and the creative and active nature of the human beings. And it is optimistic because it focuses on the noble human capacity, the positive qualities of human beings to overcome hardships and pain. This theory heavily influenced the development of organizational behavior. දැන් මොකද්ද මේ humanistic approach එකෙන් කියන්නේ? මෙයාලා මිනිසාට එයාගේ place එක දෙනවා. එයාගේ නියම place එක. හරි මිනිස්සු මේ සත්තු වගේ stimulus වලට respond කරන අය විතරක් නෙමෙයි. මිනිස්සු බොහොම ලස්සනට නිර්මාණශීලී විදියට හිතලා දැනුම experience ඒවා ඔක්කොම භාවිතා කරගෙන observe කරලා දත්ත හොයලා හරි කරුණු රැස් කරලා තමයි මිනිස්සු තමන්ගේ behavior එක තීරණය කරන්නේ. Right? Individuals, they describe personal worth of individuals and the centrality of the human mind, values and the creative and active nature of human beings. මේ මිනිසුන්ගේ මේ නිර්මාණශීලී active passive නෙමෙයි. passive කියන්නේ මිනිස්සු නිකන් ඔහේ ඉන්න අය විදිහට සලකන්නේ මේ theory එකේ. එයාලා හරි ලස්සනට මිනිස්සුන්ගේ potentials ගැන, එයාලගේ positive aspects ගැන, කරන්න පුළුවන් දේවල් ගැන හරි ලස්සනට බලපු මිනිස්සු දිහා approach එකක්. හරි it is optimistic because it focuses on the normal human capacity, the positive qualities of people to overcome hardship and pain. People are resilient. All of them are මිනිස්සු බොහොම resilient. ඕනෑම දෙයක් සිද්ධ වෙලා ආපහු නැවත යථා තත්ත්වයටපත් වෙන්න මිනිසුන්ට ස්වභාව ධර්මයෙන් හැකියාවක් ලැබිලා තියෙනවා. දැන් සමහරවිට මේ බොහොම close relatives ලා නැති වෙන්න පුළුවන්. තාත්තා දැන් මගේ තාත්තා නැති වුණාම 95 වලදී මට හිතුණා මං ආපහු කවදාවත් තාත්තා ජීවත් වෙන්න ඉස්සර වෙලා හිටපු ශශිකා මම වෙන එකක් නෑ කියලා. තාත්තා නැති වුණාම යාසන්නේ මට එහෙම හිතුනේ. මං ආයි කවදාවත් පුරුදු මම වෙන එකක් නැහැ කියලා නැති වුණා. හරි ඉතින් මම ඒ තාත්තා නැති වෙච්ච දවස්වල තාත්තා එනකොට අනිසද්දහන් ඉන්නවා මට රැට. එයා රැවිලා එනකොට. මට එහෙම ඇහුණා හිටන් තිබ්බා. හරි ඒ වුණාට අද වෙනකොටත් මට තාත්තව මතකේ කරන්න පුළුවන් නමුත් වේදනාව නැහැ. හරි වේදනාවකින් තොරව තාත්තව මතක් කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඒක වැඩි කල යන්නේ නැහැ. මාස 2-3 වලට හැකියාව ලැබෙනවා. Right? So that is the nature of the human beings. We have lot of positive qualities. Resilient is one of them. Right? Our mind is very powerful. We are creative beings. අපි බොහොම නිර්මාණශීලී සත්වයෝ. ලෝකේ කිසිම කෙනෙකුට නොලැබිච්ච දේවල් ලැබිලා තියෙනවා human beings ලට. අපි ලොකු capacity එකක් තියෙනවා. But nobody use this capacity. උපරිමයෙන් use කරන්නේ කවුරුවත් උපරිමයෙන් තියා භාගයක්වත්. වගේ employees ලත් එහෙමයි. your subordinates has the same potentials, capacity to work, to do more. Right? තව වැඩිපුර කරන්න, තව වැඩිපුර බබලෙන්න ඒගොල්ලෝ හැම කෙනෙකුටම capacity එකක් තියෙනවා. එතකොට මැනේජර් විදිහට ඔයා තමයි යාව ගෙනියන්න ඕනේ ලීඩර් විදිහට. හරි මේ humanistic approach එක හරි ලස්සනට දැක්කා. එයා තමයි මේ ඉස්සෙල්ලා තිබිච්ච machines විදිහට මිනිස්සු දිහා බලන. Earlier, according to the previous theories such as this behavioristic model as well as the scientific management, people were just cogs of machines, parts of machines. මිනිස්සු නිකම්ම machine වල කොටස් විතරයි. This humanistic approach, humanistic theory help managers, organizations to look at people with a different perspective. මිනිස්සු දිහා මේ workers ලා දිහා වෙනස්ම විදිහකට හිතන්න පුළුවන් කමක් ඇති කරා මේ humanistic approach එකෙන්. හරි ලස්සනයි මේක මම ඔයාලට I will send an article in relation to this humanistic approach, right? So it's a beautiful concept, a theory which contributed a lot to the development of working people. වැඩ කරන මිනිසුන්ගේ දියුණුව සඳහා ලොකු contribution එකක් කරපු theory එකක් තමයි මේ humanistic approach. There are some certain weaknesses also, but we will discuss those things later, right? When we discuss this theory in detail, right? Now, look at this Obn Humanistic Approach. Now, after the introduction of the, as I explained earlier, after the introduction of the organizational, this humanistic approach, OB started to focus their attention on people from with a different perspective, right? Now, this organizational behavior applies a humanistic approach towards people working in organizations. After introduction of that approach, organizational behavior started to apply this humanistic approach towards people, right? It deals with the thinking and feeling of human beings. OB is also based on the belief that people have an innate desire to be independent, creative, and productive. It also realized that people working in organization can and will actualize their potentials if they are given proper conditions and the environment. එතකොට මේක හරි ලස්සනයි. දැන් ඔබි වල උනත් ඒ same thing එකම දේ කියන්නේ මේ humanistic approach එකක් තමයි ඉන්නේ. Hari, මේකත් we assume that under the organizational behavior also we assume that people have this innate desire, innate ability to be independent, creative and productive. මේ මිනිස්සුන්ගේ මනුෂ්‍යයෝ වීම ස්වභාවය තුලම තියෙනවා. මේගොල්ලෝ හරිම නිර්මාණශීලී, ඒ වගේම productive, independent, ඒ වගේම යාළගේ මයින්ඩ් එකේ කැපැසිටි එකත් හරි ඉහළයි. ෆ්‍රී විල් එකක්. එයාලට they have the ability to make decision for themselves. ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ ගාව තියෙනවා යාළා වෙනුවෙන් decisions ගැනීමේ හැකියාව සහ උපරිමයටම ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ කැපැසිටි එක ඉහළ නැංවීමේ හැකියාව. එතකොට OB ආවේ මේ OB වල උගන්වන මේ tools, මේ techniques, මේ concepts ඔක්කොම ඒ මිනිසුන්ට ඒ උදව් කිරීමට තමයි තියෙන්නේ. right? Sorry for the disturbance. Right. Now, in conclusion, OB is the study of shaping the behavior of the organizational personnel. Right? By nature, OB is an applied science that takes a systematic approach to understand the reasons behind the behavior of people. And another objective is influence the behavior or the manage and control the behavior of people. Right? And finally, gain benefits for individuals as well as for the organization. And it sets the environment that deliver the maximum performance from the workers, right? Ultimate objective එක තමයි organizational performance වැඩි කරන එක. In order, that is the ultimate purpose of the organizational behavior is achieving organizational objectives effectively and efficiently. But while achieving organizational objectives, it focuses on fulfilling the needs of the people, fulfilling the expectations of the workers. In order to achieve those individual objectives as well as organizational objectives, managers use these theories, concepts and tools to understand, predict and manage human behaviors within the organization. එතකොට මෙහෙම බොහොම සරල විදිහට කියනවා නම් contribution එක final purpose එක තමයි organization එකේ මේ common goals effectively achieve කරගන්න එක. එතකොට ඒ achieve කරගන්න නම් in order to achieve those common goals effectively and efficiently, the organization should have this committed, satisfied and motivated workforce. In order to create such a workforce, you have to understand them, you should have the ability to understand, predict, and manage their behavior. You should have the ability to lead them properly. You should have the ability to motivate these people properly. You should have the ability to guide them, correct them, and consult them, help them. You should have the ability to communicate with them properly. එතකොට මේ මිනිස්සුන්ට හරියට නායකත්වයේ දීලා මිනිස්සුන්ට හරියට මොටිවේට් කරලා සංනිවේදනය කරලා ඊළඟට බොහොම හොඳ සම්බන්ධතාවයක් පවත්වාගෙන ගිහිල්ලා බොහොම සතුටින් ඉන්න වැඩ කරන්න පුළුවන් මිනිසුන් පිරිසක් බිහි කරගෙන ඔවුන්ගේ අරමුණු කරාත් සංවිධානයේ අරමුණු කරාත් ගෙන යාම තමයි මේ OB වල final objective එක වෙන්නේ. Right? In order to do that, you should have the ability to understand, predict, and manage their behaviors. To do that, you need the knowledge of organizational behavior. එතකොට මේ මිනිස්සුන්ගේ තේරුම් ගන්න ප්‍රෙඩික්ට් කරන්න මේ සියලු දෙනාම හරියට කරන්න නම් ඔයාට මේ OB දැනුම ඕනේ. හරි? ඒක නිසා මේක හොඳින් ඉගෙන ගන්න ඕනේ ඔයාලා සියලුම දෙනා. Right? Now I will move to the last slide of our session. Right? Now this slide explains the challenges of organizational behavior. Relevance of organizational behavior in today's scenario. I'm not going to explain all the challenges. I will explain few of these challenges, and I want you to find information and learn these concepts, right? First one, continuous improvement of productivity and quality. Now, the quality is the extent to which the customers or users believe the product or the service surpasses their needs and expectations. Now, almost all the customers demand high quality product and services. More and more managers are confronting to meet these challenges to fulfill the needs of these different customers. Actually, quality of product and services depends on the quality of workers, their knowledge, their experience, their attitudes, and finally, if you take all of those things together, the behavior of employees. So, improving productivity and quality continuously, it is a challenge for managers. So, in order to do that, you should improve the skills of the workers, knowledge levels of the workers. You have to change the behavior of people in a way that they help to improve productivity and quality of the product and services, right? Productivity of all the activities and quality of product and services. Next, we have this improving people skills. It is another challenge. Now, the organizational environment is highly complex. It is rapidly changing. Organizations are connected with the other organizations in the world, right? So, in order to work within this complex environment, these complex organizations, workers need different type of skills. They need these conceptual skills, interpersonal skills, technical skills, analytical skills, creative skills, they should have ability to sense the future, right? These skills related to technologies, decision-making skills, problem-solving skills, and the communication skills, team building skills, cross-cultural skills, the list goes on, right? So, improving those skills, it is another challenge, right, that you face as managers. එතකොට ඒකත් ලේසි දෙයක් නෙමෙයි. හරි? මිනිසුන්ට හරියට හැකියාවන් තියෙන්න ඕනේ. එහෙම නැත්නම් සවයින් වෙන්න බෑ. ඔයාලටත් එහෙම තමයි. හරි? මේ MBA එක කරන්න එපා දරුවනේ. හරි? නිකන් MBA MSc නම් අකුරු තුන ගන්න නම් මේක කරන්න එපා. හරි? මේක කරන්න වෙනස් විදිහේ මැනේජර් කෙනෙක් වෙන්න. හරි? වෙනස් විදිහේ පුද්ගලයෙක් වෙන්න මේවා ඉගෙන ගන්න. හරි? නිකන් අකුරු වලට නම් certificates වලට නම් qualifications වලට නම් කරන්න එපා. හරි? මේවා ඉගෙනගෙන ඔයා වෙනස් කෙනෙක් බවට prove කරන්න. right? මේ skills develop කරගෙන. Next one is managing workforce diversity. It refers to the employing different categories of people who are heterogeneous in terms of gender, race, ethnicities, then age, right? එක දේවල් වලින් ඒ කියන්නේ සමහර වෙලාවට වයස අනුව, සමහර වෙලාවට ස්ත්‍රී පුරුෂ භාවය අනුව, ජෙන්ඩර් එක අනුව, එත්නික් ගෲප් එක අනුව, රේස් එක අනුව, රිලිජන් එක අනුව එකිනෙකාට වෙනස් වූ මිනිස්සුත් එක්ක වැඩ කරගන්න වෙනවා. Managers should have the ability to tap the talents and potentials of this diverse group of people, right? They have the ability to foster innovations using their within the organization, using the talents of this diverse group of people, and they should have ability to obtain the synergetic effect, right, among diverse workforce. මේ diversity කියන්නේ හරි ලස්සන දෙයක්. හරි? ඔයාලා මතක තියාගන්න. ලෝකෙ මෙච්චර වෙනස් විදියට වෙනස් පාට මල් වලින් වෙනස් විදිය සත්තුන්ගෙන් වෙනස් විදිය ගස්කොළ වලින් වෙනස් විදිය ගෙඩි වලින් හරි මෙහෙම ලෝකෙ පුරවවේ ඒ ඩයිවර්සිටි ඕනේ නිසා ඒක බොහොම නැචරල් හරි එතකොට මිනිස්සුන් අතරක් තියෙන මේ වෙනස්කම හරි ලස්සන දෙයක්. It is an asset for an organization, right? You can improve innovations if you have this diverse group of people because they have different ideas, they have different perspectives, and they contributed differently. So by listening to different perspectives, you can bring innovations to organization. බොහොම ලස්සනනේ අලුත් දේවල් ගේන්න පුළුවන් මේ වෙනස් මිනිසුන්ට සමන් දීම තුලින්. හරි වෙනස් විදිහේ perspectives ඇසීම තුලින්. එතකොට ඒක හරියට manage කරගන්න ඔයාලට පුළුවන් වෙන්න ඕනේ. Employees want to retain their cultural identity, values and their lifestyles even though they are working in the same organization with common rules and regulation. You should not forget that, right? Now these employees, they come from different societies, different cultural backgrounds, right? They have different cultural backgrounds. They want to retain their cultural identity, their values and attitudes even though they are working in the same organization with the common rules and regulation. So you should have the ability to respect those things. මේ organizations වල මේ ඉන්නවා විවිධ backgrounds වලින් එන අය. එතකොට ඒගොල්ලෝ කැමති නැහැ organization එකට ආවත් කියලා ඒව change කරන්න. හරි ඒගොල්ලෝ කැමති යාළගේ identity එක retain කරගන්න මේ common objectives වලට ගියා. Right? So we should respect their identities. Why not? එහෙම නැති වෙන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. අපි අනිත් අයගේ ඒවට ගරු කරන්න ඕනේ. හරි? So the major challenge for organization is to be sensitive to the requirements of the needs of those diverse group of people. ඒ මිනිසුන්ගේ අවශ්‍යතාවය වලට එයාලගේ expectations වලට ඒ sensitive වෙන එක තමයි major challenge එක වෙන්නේ. එතකොට ඒකත් OB වල it is another challenge, right? Another challenge for organizational behavior, right? And we have more challenges responding to globalization, empowering people, stimulating innovativeness and change, working in network organization. Though all of those things are challenges, right? I want you to read. I'm going to explain all the factors, right? So you should read Fred Luther's first chapter or Robin's first chapter in order to understand these challenges, right? Or just type in the internet challenges for organizational behavior. You can find lot of information in relation to these factors, right? So that is up to you. ඔයාලට මම මේ ඉතුරු ටික තියෙනවා ඔයාලට හොයන්න, right? ඔයාලට කියවලා බලලා මේක ගැන පොඩි note එකක් හදන්න ඕනේ ඔයාලා මොනවා ගැනද? Challenges of organizational behavior in today's scenario, right? අද දවසේ organizations වල මේ OB වලට තියෙන challenges මොනවද කියලා ඔයා note එක හදන්න ඕනේ, right? So that is the last slide. Any questions from the group? I hope that you understood what I taught you. Do you need any clarification? Hello? Any questions from the class? Yes. Challenges and opportunities for organizational behavior. You can type that one also. I will let me share. Now look at this. I will share the screen. Now, can you see the screen, my screen?
Yes, madam. We can see.
Now, I typed the opportunities, challenges and opportunities of organizational behavior, right? So, I found all of those factors here. First, we have this, first we have quality, right? Then we have improving people's skills. Sorry, here we have improving quality and productivity. Then managing workforce diversity, responding to globalization, empowering people, coping with temporariness, and stimulating innovation and change, the emergence of e-organization, improving ethical behavior, improving customer services, helping employees to balance their work life. All the factors are here, right? Just type challenges and opportunities of organizational behavior. You can find all the information, right? And prepare your own note after reading this one, right? මේක ඇත්තටම අරන් තියෙන්නේ මට මතක විදිහට මේක ස්ටෙෆන් ෆ්‍රෙඩ් ලූතන්ස්ගේ පොතේ තියෙනවා, රොබින්ස්ගේ පොතේ ෆස්ට් chapter එකේ තියෙනවා. හරි? ඒකෙන් තමයි මේ ඉන්ටර්නෙට් එකටත් මම හිතන්නේ ඒගොල්ලෝ ඩිවෙලොප් කරලා තියෙන්නේ. ඒ දෙකම ඕනම එකක් ඔයාලට භාවිතා කරන්න පුළුවන්, right? ඔයාලට තේරුණාද මම උගන්වපු දේවල්? Right. Then we will meet again 5th week, right? I will, Professor Udayanga will take the next 3 classes, and after that I will take the theoretical, I will deliver the session Theoretical Foundation, right? Thank you very much for listening and having very interesting and interactive class with me.
Thank you very much, madam.
Thank you very much, madam.
All of you are welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you.